Green. Holy moly.
Great job! Yeah!
This guy.
Thank you! Wow!
Hell yeah.
Great job, man!
Now we got a crash. Cars spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip.
Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes!
Unbelievable. You guys are the best.
Yes, 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 yes! Oh, what a year!
Hey, welcome to the NASCAR Weekly Podcast on DannyBTalks. How are y'all doing today?
Hello.
I'm good. Thank you for asking, Danny. Very, very respectful, very polite of you. How are you?
I'm great.
I bet.
Situation normal.
Yes. As you can see, I'm rocking the hack shirt tonight. We got obvious things to talk about with Las Vegas. But first, we got to thank our sponsor, Mowbie, proud partner of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast Season 5. Mowbie offers innovative, state-of-the-art men's grooming devices, and as you can tell, we are all bearded men, well, except Darian. He's working.
Nah, not really.
We do have
His work too well.
it worked.
I have a
way too
little
well.
fuzz coming up, but no, nothing too major.
But they are offering an all-new dual system beard trimmer to keep you guys looking good and trimmed up, keeping us good and trimmed up. I try to keep mine trimmed about every 2 or 3 weeks, so I'm about getting in on needing to break out the old Mowbie and taking care of my beard. And speaking of taking care of things, Bowman took care of it in Las Vegas this weekend. Obviously, I'm very happy. I will get a start on this. Maybe I wasn't so surprised to see Bowman go get the win this weekend at Las Vegas. You know, maybe some of these other guys feel differently. I pay closer attention to his races overall, and he did look fast in practice this weekend. I think he was like 6th in practice when they had that. Didn't qualify the greatest, but strangely enough, he qualified 13th, and his last 3 wins, he has started 13th. Did you guys know that?
No. Wow.
Oh,
that's an interesting.
Lucky 13.
Yes, strangely, the most cursed driver in NASCAR who destroys tracks, I guess. His lucky number is 13, too, because he seems to win from that position a lot.
Wow.
But he did make a strong run up through the field. I mean, it was like almost instant. I messaged Darren. I said, Darren, don't you dare say a word about Bowman because he's climbed up to 4th from 13th in like only a few laps here.
You weren't the only one. Everyone was telling me not to talk about their favorite driver.
Yes, Sam Mayer and Carson Kosovar.
We'll get to that a little later in the show, but yeah, they were one of them.
But yes, Bowman was able to climb up to the lead. He won stage 1, and then he had a lot of pit road issues. I noticed it actually costed him like 3 or 4 positions on a lot of pit stops he had. At one point, he had fell back to like 11th. All the progress he'd made to get up to the front was gone in the pits, basically. And then they had a pit road violation, which Jarrett basically said, like, F in the chat for Danny at that point. Because I think I'd also lost Blaney at that point, who was my pick to win. So at that point, I was like, okay, Blaney's out. I'm rooting for Bowman. Now Bowman's out is what I was thinking. And then he somehow climbs up to 4th after overcoming that. And it was actually looking like he was going to pass Ross Chain and get 3rd. And I was actually content with 3rd. After the week he had last week, finishing, I don't know, pretty bad. He was running the top 5, hit the wall, Auto Club, didn't get the finish he probably deserved in that one. And then a caution come out. Sucked for Eric Jones and Bubba Wallace for that to happen, but unfortunately that is racing. And Greg Ives actually got redemption in this race. I don't know if really many of you guys remember this. 2020 Las Vegas race. Bowman was in contention for that one, battling Ryan Blaney, actually charging up on Ryan Blaney. It looked like he could pass him. Late caution come out in that one in 2020. Greg Ives made the decision to pit along with Ryan Blaney when everyone else stayed out. This time, things are different. Everyone does pit, and being bold, him along with 2 of his other Hendrick Motorsports teammates, Kyle Larson and William Byron, decided, hey, let's take 2 tires. Beat the Joe Gibbs guys off pit road and got them in a position where it would look like a Hendrick car was going to win. Having 3 of them up there in the top 3, you're not going to get past all of them, not when they're all together like that. And Bowman and Byron were pretty much neck and neck. I'm really surprised, honestly, that Larson gave Bowman the inside lane, especially for just 2-lap restart. I figured that would be Larson on the inside. I was actually surprised that he gave him that option.
I think with Bowman got such a good jump. Like that, I was thinking he was already nosing out in front by the time they got into turn 1. I think I just thought Larson as the control car would just be ahead by turn 1.
I was kind of surprised, much like we'll get into the Xfinity race too. There was similar controversy there Ty Gibbs kind of was in the same situation, was second on the inside, beat the leader to the line. Bowman actually beat Larson to the line. I'm surprised that wasn't really called out, but didn't really see anything about that. Didn't see many people talking about that.
Well, Larson being the control car, I think on that last restart, he started them off, and Bowman just got a better restart.
He also had more of a push. I don't remember who. I think it was Busch or Truex behind or it wasn't Truex. I don't think. Whoever was behind Larson didn't give him as good of a push as Bowman was getting from, I think, Byron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but ultimately Bowman held him off, and it was going to be a great finish to the end with Busch and Truex. In that situation, I was hoping for Kyle Busch to win that. But we still got a good finish because it was neck and neck, Bowman and Larson all the way until the end. And then when I saw Larson went up high, he got loose, went up. I got to admit, I jumped off the couch because I was excited. I was like, yes, there we go, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I assume we'll talk a little bit about, did Kyle Busch saying over the radio afterwards that Bowman backs into all his wins. Obviously, we'll go back to the hat comments. Yeah. We'll talk about that, but
they've discussed it already.
I'll give Bowman credit. Yes, he got lucky by that late race caution. He wasn't winning this race without that late race caution. But once he got up to that front row on equal tires with the defending champion, maybe the best race car driver in the Western Hemisphere, wasn't even the control car, and he beat him straight up. That was extremely impressive, especially when on the very final lap, 3 and 4, Larson was all over his door. The old car, Bowman would have gotten loose. I think he would have taken his air away. He would have been gone. I don't know what I don't know the exact aerodynamic difference. The symmetry of the car maybe has something to do with it. I'm sure it does. But whatever the case, Larson down on Bowman's door, and Larson's the one who ended up getting loose. I think Bowman slipped up a little, but not as bad as Larson did. Larson couldn't hold this car wide open as long as Bowman could. So I was impressed with Bowman at that point. Like when Larson came out first, I said Larson's either winning this race or Busch and Truex are going to slice through the field and beat him. But no, Bowman came out. No, I think that's part of Kyle Busch's comments is because even he was sitting there like, oh, if Larson wins this, it's a Larson win. But when Bowman won, he's just like, oh, Bowman? Well, how again? But Bowman did win stage 1 because your point, Danny, he had a really fast car. He came from mid pack to the front, went back to the back to the front. He had, I think, one of the top 3 or 4 best cars in this race. So maybe it wasn't shocking. It just, we were also used to the idea of a Truex or Busch win up to that point. It was surprising last second.
I have to admit, at the end, I was kind of disappointed because I was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna have a side-by-side finish, the first one with the next-gen car," and then Bowman pulled ahead. Like, I'm not upset overall of the race itself. Like overall, I really liked the race, but I have to admit that like when that happened, Riss and I are both watching, and we're just like, "Oh my God, Larson's gonna win." I'm like, no, it's Bowman. Okay, maybe Larson.
Like if that battle to take the white flag had been the finish, that would have been crazy. Bowman would have still got it either way in that scenario, but that would have been pretty crazy.
I was so hoping though that we could get like of all the places a mile and a half after all the discussion the last 20 years, not discussion, more like just anger the last 20 years at mile and a halves, that when NASCAR gets it right with a car, everyone, it's going to be at a mile and a half that it happens. I thought I wanted that to happen just because I'll be real. I could have gotten a lot out of the salt mines on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, that had to be one of the best Las Vegas races I have ever seen. And it had been quite some time, just with the previous 550 package, just, these guys, they were racing, but, they weren't really racing, they were kind of being held back by the package. And now all of a sudden get a car, the next gen 7, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. You bring that car to a mile and a half track and wow, it just put on a show, right? Right from the very beginning. And, you saw like guys, like especially coming out of turn 4, like that seemed to be like the most struggling part of the racetrack. Like even Kyle Larson battling Ross Chastain for the lead almost took out Ross Chastain there, the best driver in NASCAR. I mean,
my heart stopped.
If he's having problems, handling this car from time to time, man, this car they made, it's been absolutely beautiful the first 3 races. I mean, like we still have a long way to go, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
Definitely, yeah, we've got a lot more to see of this car so far, but overall, I think the racing was good. We saw so many drivers actually leading this race, so there was a lot of passing for the lead, a lot of passing overall, but a lot of passes for the lead that were being made in this race too.
They really were.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jared.
Well, I think overall it was probably like around, I'd say like an 8 or 9 out of 10 is probably, accurate. I mean, maybe if you're a little negative on it, still it was a 7, easily passing grade. As for like being one of the best Vegas races in a long time, I kind of put it up there with like 2014. I think that one was a really good one. I think 2008 was a really good one. It's one of the few Vegas races. Like, we've had good Vegas races, but it's not been like, man, we're gonna really remember this. Like, this is one where it's like, this is a memorable finish and a pretty good race overall, even if you take out all the context of post race and drama and Fox trying to drum up drama and all that. Like,
oh, that was so cringe, bro. That was so cringe.
Please, like, my comments on that, when we're on the topic, we're all YouTubers. I felt like that what we saw in that little skit thing was something that any of us could have made.
Yeah.
Which is fine, I guess, if we're trying to make a funny little quick YouTube video. But I guess I expect more from broadcast. That's all I'm saying.
I expect more from us.
Look, at this point, I was about to say that too. We have higher expectations.
It's like
higher standards.
It's like backdoor version of Breaking Bad mixed with NASCAR.
Look,
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna be honest here. Like, at this point, Fox with the whole commercials, and then the past few years with all these cringy skits. I mean, it was like cringy to watch and stuff, but personally, was I surprised by it? No, because this is Fox. This is what they've been doing. Like, I even tweeted out before this. I'm like, what is all this racing doing on my cringy skits show? Like that's, I mean, that's what it feels like sometimes when you're watching NASCAR on Fox here too. So look, when this next TV deal rolls around and stuff, hopefully, if Fox does re-up with them, NASCAR's like, hey, can you try and take the broadcast a little more serious? This is a sporting.
Let's say it shows how good the car is. I think that
people forgot about it.
None of the complaints that were had of the day were on the racing.
No, exactly. See, I don't like calling for people's jobs or anything, but the producers need to change over at Fox, because the people making the creative decisions before the week begins, dude, this was a total flop this weekend.
Like who's signing up on this stuff?
Exactly. They played it really too hard. I even joked at one point after Suarez got hooked, after the McDowell kind of got loose. I'm like, somehow Fox is going to tie this into when they fought a couple of years ago, something like that. They were going out of their way to drum up drama in the cringiest way possible. But aside from that, to your point, Jarrett, we really didn't talk about that much after the race because the racing was so good. And what's great, what the most refreshing part of this is, quite honestly, are the crashes. Like, not because I like seeing guys crash repeatedly, but because we finally are seeing drivers step over that line. There is a line. For a while, the line was miles away. It was almost impossible to step over that line. Exactly. Now there is a line, and I think it serves as a great reminder to the viewers watching at home and in the grandstands that it's not easy to drive race cars. Like, at times the last few years at these big tracks, it did look easy. Like, go back to Kyle Busch's comments about how all the media, you guys could drive these cars. He probably had a little bit of a point. I mean, quite honestly, not so much with the next gen. I do think the next gen occasionally borderlines on that unpredictableness that isn't maybe conducive to good racing. Like, you don't want the car to just suddenly step out. You want to kind of feel it coming and know you're on that edge. So I still think it's occasionally skirting that line. And we've seen through these first 3 weeks, the most cautions in NASCAR history through the first 3 weeks. And some of that maybe is the stages adding a couple every race, but still, I think that's a remarkable stat. Yet, despite the more cautions and the longer races, at least online, I've been to a couple of races. People seem happy in person, but the online NASCAR community has almost universally praised the racing at the tracks we've seen so far. So I think that's great.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, even this race, I feel like the tire issues weren't as bad as the week before.
Yeah, they were actually driving back. Yeah, they were driving back and stuff. Like Christopher Bell was wobbling and stuff, getting back and stuff. But I mean, they were able to drive back at least. And also, I wanted to point out another amazing stat: 25 drivers with at least one top 10 through the first 3 races. First time that's happened since 1973. So we're seeing some early parity. I saw that stat. I'm like, 25 guys with the top 10.
And Eric Almirola kept the streak.
I was just gonna say, and who had the top 10 in all of them?
Eric Almirola. Hey, he's on a comeback. He's on the comeback trail this year.
This is so much better than how the last year started. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
He's almost matched his top 10s for last year already.
And IDK did say he'd win the championship this year. He'll get it with consistency.
This year so far about seems like Denny Hamlin.
Oh.
Denny Hamlin seems like his from last year.
Oh yeah, and speaking of Denny Hamlin too, like, what'd you guys think of that mistake he made? I mean, obviously, with the the new gears and stuff like that.
It's gonna happen more times this year. It's not just gonna be him. There's gonna be probably at least 7 more drivers will have that happen this year. I guarantee.
2 things.
Over under.
Do we count that as a pit road mistake since he was exiting the pits?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that streak keeps going. 2. What do we think it's going to be at the road courses? Like, that's what I'm really
That's going to be
interested
bad.
in.
I think if you don't blow it up on lap 1 or 2 or 3, I think you'll get in a rhythm and you'll get used to it. But that is a fair concern. I don't know. Did during all the Roval testing they did, were drivers complaining about that? I feel like most drivers were actually positive on the shifter. Like, they kind of enjoyed things.
I thought they were positive about it.
I think what worries me the most is probably Sonoma going up those hills. That's probably the biggest one where it's likely to happen this year.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right, Danny. It will happen to somebody again. But we'll see. I'm sure right now all the drivers, like, as they're going to sleep, they have like a gear shifter. Like, I remember when I played basketball, my coach always said, when you're at home watching TV, you should just be like tossing a ball in the air, like just getting that feel for like shooting a basketball.
Practice shifting, guys.
Yeah, just at the dinner table. Just like eating a soup, just constantly.
But also another problem too, and again, this has happened for I think the 2nd or 3rd race in a row. Drivers, their body parts going numb inside the car, their feet, their butt and stuff like that. And I think it has, I think it has a lot to do with, where they're positioned in the car. It's a little bit different. And also I heard like the pedals, they're in a much different spot as well. So like whenever they're going full speed and stuff during a full race, then their legs, I guess, just automatically go numb or whatever.
Look,
it's weird.
I'm a big person, and I drive a Toyota Camry. When I'm on a long road trip, I'm leaned pretty far back, stretched pretty good out, but I get cramps. I get kind of numb sometimes. My legs get tired. I have to jostle, move them around. In a race car, you're kind of just rigid. You're stuck in there because for safety reasons. Yeah, so if anything's even just a little bit off on these new cars, they're brand new. Positioning, like you said, they're more centered in the car now. They're not as close to like the driver's side wall, I guess. They're more centered. Something's just a little bit off. It can lead to these problems. But Reddick is the most interesting one because he's had it twice now. So whatever change they made after Fontana didn't work at Vegas. So back to the drawing board again.
And even Eric Almirola, he was having problems too.
Well, speaking of, Almirola with the streak real quick, somebody else has continued to streak this week as well, and it's Brad Keselowski getting into people.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Like, I know we were joking about it, but like it's getting ridiculous at this point. Like,
it's getting crazy.
Is 4 a pattern now? Like, can we consider this a pattern? Because I had people come at me for like, it's early in the season. I'm like, yes, I know. That's why it's surprising. It's him. Good Lord.
He's going to average like 2 incidents a race for the whole season. I think John Hunter Nemechek a couple years ago had he led the series with like 25 or 26 incidents last year.
Nemechek, or the way Herbst was for a while, or the way Decker was for a while. Like that's going to be Brad Keselowski this year if he doesn't clean his act up.
Yeah, I don't remember who led the series in incidents last year, but I just know it's usually like in the 20s or so. Keselowski's already at like 5 or 6, and we're 3 races in.
He's not the only one either. Unfortunately for this guy, it's been less of his own doing. Justin Haley has also had an incident every race. He even had an incident at Las Vegas, I remember.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he hasn't had the best of luck. But, I mean, also poor Ryan Blaney, too. Like, he was just minding his business, and then all of a sudden Keselowski just turns or whatever. And Keselowski kept going, and I even think in Radioactive, Blaney was like, well, look at him. He gets to continue. Or no, he said that in his in the post-wreck interview. Yeah, he's like, oh, look at him. He gets to keep racing, and we're out.
On the subject of accidents happening in these new cars, how about Daniel Suarez's car? He hit the wall nose first 3 times, but that car didn't hardly do anything. It didn't look like it had that much damage on it. He still got out of it, so his race was done. I'm sure it was worse on the inside than it looked on the outside. But these new composite bodies, I feel like any other car would just be like smashed a lot harder after hitting the wall 3 times.
They just pop back into place. They'll hit the impact and then right back out like a spring. I don't know.
It's tough.
It's allowed some cars, I think, to keep racing longer than maybe the previous car would have allowed. They've been so far. The next gen has passed the test. Minor inconveniences here, a tire issue, numb issue, whatever. A few little problems here and there, but I'd say so far the rollout of the next gen, as far as the on-track product is concerned, has been way smoother than I anticipated. I thought there'd be far more issues at this point than there've been.
But there really
still will be. Like, I think there's still gonna be like.
Sure.
My thing is just that there's gonna be teams that figure this car out. There's gonna be teams like Hendrick who are just gonna pop out ahead, and the racing we see now probably will be different than what we see at the end of the year. But that's not a bad thing either, because the racing in 2014 was way different than 2013, and one season we look back on fondly. The other one, only Eric in here looks back on fondly.
That's true.
I'm just saying. I mean, like 2013 is generally, it's not hated, but it's not like loved. Like if we can have that kind of increase to 2023, cool by me. Completely fine. I'm cool with that. But I'm just, it is. There's gonna be pitfalls. There's gonna be Texas twice, 3 times. If we got the All-Star race.
I'm subscribing to Darian's idea. I think Texas will surprise us this year.
It might. I'm not saying it might. We'll see. I mean, but if the Gen 7 does make Texas look good again, then that'll be a massive.
I just feel like Las Vegas is the closest thing we have to Texas, and it was pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's good.
Let's see what happens after we hit a few other tracks first. There's still more to go.
Yeah.
On that note, a guy who always knows each week is another race and anything can happen. Kyle Busch always seems to have a lot of headlines around him when things don't go according to plan. So crashed his car in practice, and I think I was saying this earlier. It was probably a good story for him to go to a backup car, climb his way all the way from the back, and then go in. Likewise, it's also a good story for Alex Bowman to overcome penalty and also win. So I don't know. What do you guys?
Busch was a better story.
Yeah, I don't know.
Kyle Busch.
Objectively, it was.
Objectively, Busch was the more remarkable story from the backup car, which it wasn't even it was like a 3rd string car. It didn't even.
It
have
was with
Kyle
all
Busch's
the spare parts or whatever. Yeah,
which
it wasn't even a real race car.
No, as Kyle Busch mentioned, it was the Walmart car. So
car.
sure, it's still a Joe Gibbs prepared car and everything. It was still going to be fast. You put a TRD engine. It was still going to be good, sure. But he had to start at the rear in a 3rd string car, drove up through the field. He fell back. He had he spun out. What else? What else? Did he have a pit road penalty at one point? He fell back.
No. So he spun out. And then he avoided another wreck earlier in the race, and then he had the issue with Chase Briscoe, a speeding penalty, and then drove to the front.
And then he drove to the front, and he was wheeling that thing to try and hold off Martin Truex Jr. at the end. It felt like a Kyle Busch day. I said this on my show. I feel like when you give Kyle Busch like a good car, not like an amazing race-winning car, but like a top 5 car, I feel like sometimes he just falls asleep and finishes 12th. He just kind of gives up middle of the day. He's like, it's not good. He doesn't really have a chip on his shoulder. He just kind of finishes fine. But when you give him a destroyed car, a killed car, as he says, if something goes wrong, it's like he cranks up to another level. He is like, if there's such a thing as like a streaky driver within individual races, it's Kyle Busch. He'll go from it kind of feels like just giving up on, just going through the motions, to up on the wheel, edge of your seat. Like he it seems like he mentally goes through a change from one stage to the next and changes the way he drives, changes his performance. Because this felt like, I don't want to take anything away from Ben Bayshore and the team and everything, but this felt like it was Kyle Busch willing that car to the front. And I was kind of pulling for him to hold off Truex at the end, because I thought, well, one, it would be 3rd week in a row where you had teammates battling for the win and it was something close. But I also thought he just earned it. Like the mistake in practice may not have even been his fault. It looked like he might have had a flat tire, just ran over something. So a lot of the issues he ran into over the course of the weekend weren't really his fault, but for him to nearly overcome all those issues and maybe win the race at his home track, which he hadn't done in like 13 years, I thought that was a remarkable story. Even though he ends up finishing 3rd or 4th, it still was a good story.
Still a great story.
But like he was the driver of the day. I know Bowman gets the win. Doesn't NASCAR still give out like a driver of the day kind of award? If they do, I'd give it to Kyle Busch, even though he didn't win.
Yeah, I would say that. Like I said before, the caution come out, I was content. Bowman finished 3rd. Great points day. He would have needed that, and I was actually hoping Kyle Busch would win that between him and Truex, but it didn't work that way. Kyle Busch had some probably not the best comments for Alex Bowman on his own radio. It wasn't like he said it to Bowman, but then obviously word spread. Bowman finds out about it. They actually did talk to each other on Monday night. I read that today, and essentially everything's good there. Kyle Busch apologized to Bowman, basically just said, just hated the moment thing, didn't mean anything personal to you about it. He just hated to lose. That's all it was.
Yeah,
he's just a sore loser.
Yeah, he is.
That's what he is.
I mean, does he have a point? But Bowman's wins, his first couple wins, he dominated, or at least like I thought his first win at Chicago when he beat Larson in a battle
And
late
Auto
was
Club.
big. Auto Club, he dominated. I was there. He dominated that race right before the
Me too.
pandemic. He earned those 100%. But last year, come on, Pocono was a fluke.
I'll-
Richmond
I'll-
was the
I'll
fastest car.
I'll give you that one. Richmond.
Dover was a Hendrick 1, 2, 3, 4. Could have been any of them. You know, I don't know. Like, I think Kyle Busch has stepped over the line for sure. But like, I saw a stat. I don't remember
Pocono's
who
the one
put
I'll
it out.
give you.
Yeah, sure. I think that one's the one given. The others are all debatable. But I don't remember where I saw the stat, but it was like, it might have been from Jeff Gluck, actually. I don't remember who we put the stat out there. But
Was it
a
about
list.
laps led and stuff?
The percentage of laps led in race wins? And it was like
And-
Martin Truex Jr. led the list. Like when he wins a race, he leads like half the laps. But it was
Yeah.
down around like 20th where you find Alex Bowman because he led, I think he leads about 13 to 14% of the laps of races he wins, which that doesn't tell the whole story. Like Brian Blaney was pretty low on the list, but he's also had races where he's led a ton of laps and just hasn't won.
They have the
So-
same amount of wins, by the way.
They do.
So that doesn't tell the full story, but I'm like, you know, I understand Kyle Busch's frustration. He's obviously a sore loser and is just going to vent in the moment. But like, there's been a lot of conversation around it. Like, is Alex Bowman, does he get a few lucky breaks sometimes? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. You got to push
Oh,
yourself
yeah.
to win races.
I-
But like,
I don't
I
think
would-
that's debatable.
I would rather be lucky and have 7 wins than always be in the top 5 but can never close it.
Yeah, and I'll
agree.
I'll remind the fan base of another Hendrick driver that is kind of going the same similar win path as Alex Bowman. I mean, Terry Labonte back in the day, he wasn't the most dominant guy in some of these races too. I mean, like during his 1996 championship run, guy only wins 2 races the entire season, but he's so consistent and wins the championship. So I mean, like Alex Bowman's not the first guy at Hendrick to me that is like, oh yeah, he doesn't dominate, but he somehow gets all these wins. So he's not the first one.
Kevin Harvick. A lot of his early wins were last lap passes
Yeah.
or
That's why
really close wins.
Hey,
I'm not saying he's Harvick.
Greg, Harvick is towards the end of his career. Bowman could be this generation's closer.
I mean,
I'm
maybe
just playing-
there's a case.
I'm just playing
it.
devil's advocate. I mean, I think Bowman's great. The fact that he's won 7 races since getting to Hendrick, like there are some other pretty good drivers who've come through the Hendrick system who've not had that much success.
Yeah, I was just about to point out really quick. William Byron and Alex Bowman have identically, they're close to the same amount of Cup Series starts, but Byron only has 2 wins. Alex Bowman has 7, correct? 7 careers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So and that's what I said in my video this week. Because I'm playing devil's advocate. I was hoping one of us would have a contrarian opinion so we could have more of a debate on this. But it sounds like we all basically agree.
You're not going to get contrary out of me.
Obviously, I knew Danny wasn't, or whoever Danny wasn't. But no, but the point is, Bowman is a good driver. But the problem is he's on like the mid '90s Bulls. He's on a team with 3 other drivers who were all basically declared future superstars when they were teenagers. So the fact that he has outperformed Byron, at least in the wins category since they both got there, I think that's impressive. But, he is always going to kind of be the 3rd or 4th guy at Hendrick as long as this is their lineup. And there's no shame in that as long as you're still winning races. There have been, like I said, other 3rd or 4th guys at Hendrick in the past that haven't won races with any consistency. So I think Bowman's doing his job. I thought Kyle Busch's comments were funny.
They were great. I love them.
I talked about this last week on the podcast. Obviously the fight for number 1 at Hendrick is going to be Chase and Kyle Larson. But it is kind of interesting how there's now like this little mini battle for 3rd place at Hendrick between Bowman and Byron. And right now I would give it to Bowman. We'll see what Byron does. Bowman's made the playoffs more times than Byron has, and he's went deeper into the playoffs actually.
I think Byron has a lower basement. Like Byron has a lower floor and a higher ceiling, whereas like Bowman has a much higher floor than Byron does. But I don't see him being the type who's gonna like. I don't see Alex Bowman into his 30s going out there and winning, consistently like 4 to 7 or 8 wins a year kind of thing. Like I don't see him being like a Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson type, where I could see that from William Byron one day.
Yeah,
and you also have to remember too. I mean, Alex Bowman came from driving for BK Racing,
Exactly.
Tommy Baldwin Racing, and over at freaking Tommy Baldwin Racing, he gets fired and he finds out about it on Twitter. So his story, I mean, it's really awesome.
If he can keep getting 1 to 2 race win seasons a year, I think that's pretty good. If he can get him, consistently 3 and 4, like 4 wins like last year, I'd take
That's
that.
great.
As a fan of
that's
I'd take that.
That'll get you in the Hall of Fame one day if he keeps doing that. Like,
Yeah.
just saying. Like,
I mean, to put it in perspective, he's at 7 wins now in his career. And think about our guys who we have a lot of respect for. Clint Boyer, I think he only got 10 wins. So he's like 3 away from Clint Boyer's status right now.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Bowman now has more wins than Casey Kane had during his Hendrick time.
During his run at Hendrick, Bowman does have more wins than Casey Kane. And that's another thing. There is a lot of guys who I felt like their time was definitely underrated with Hendrick. And, we've seen guys come in and have, okay, let's think, Dale Earnhardt Jr. How many wins did he have total there, Jarrett?
9.
Okay, so only 2 away from Dale Jr. at Hendrick now.
Knocking on the door.
And, Jr. had that run from 14 to 15 where I think he probably got, 7 wins in that time period?
You got
7 including 2 duels and I believe 1 other.
So, and granted, Jr.'s in a different point in his career at that point, but he's went 4 years in a row for win. And I got to give that to him. No, take away me liking as a fan, that's pretty impressive for anyone.
I mean, the distance between Chase Elliott and Bowman is almost the same as the distance between Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson.
Yeah, and here, I'll give a little bit of a hot take too. Perhaps if Bowman can be consistent enough this season, is there a possibility that he could maybe be that number 2 guy this year, just for this year, maybe? No. I don't know.
Too early to tell. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens later in the season.
Bowman has the unfortunate, like we talked about before, the unfortunate circumstance of being on a team that has arguably 4 top 10 drivers.
Yeah.
Easily 2 top 5 drivers.
Mm-hmm.
If Alex Bowman performs like this at RFK, everyone is singing his praises.
Mm-hmm.
If he performs like this at Trackhouse, everyone is saying how great Alex Bowman is. He does this as a teammate to Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott, and he's like, well, yeah, you're supposed to do that. You're at Hendrick. It is unfair to him, especially like we talked about where he came from. I feel bad for him because it's like everyone hypes up Blaney. And don't get me wrong, Blaney on average performs better, but they have the same amount of wins.
Yeah.
I mean, if Bowman goes 11 more years in his career, let's say, and he averages, doesn't say he has to win 1 a year, but he averages 1 a year. He goes up and he ties Casey Kane, Ryan Newman, Neil Bonnet, and Jeff Bodine.
That's pretty good.
Not
company.
a bad list.
Yeah. That's good company. Yeah.
Sneak a Daytona 500 win or something in there, and you got a legacy at that point.
He's right up there with guys. He'd be there with guys like Buddy Baker and Greg Biffle. They're not a bad company to be in.
Yeah.
No matter what happens for him, there will always be, weirdly enough, some haters for him. Mainly just because when he does win, he strangely enough beats really popular people for some reason. So,
I think he's beat Kyle Larson 3 times now.
Yeah.
He's better, confirmed. Just kidding. But hey, that's enough of the Bowman talk here. Let's talk about some things that did happen here, though. The Eric Jones and Bubba Wreck that started off all that. What was your all's thoughts on that? And first of all, I felt like, ooh, good job, Bubba, to stay away from that. And it's like, ooh, Bubba hit the wall. And now I realized when they showed the replay, I was like, oh, Bubba about hit a pace car there. That was about bad.
Good reflexes, whoever's in the pace car. Yeah. I don't. NASCAR waited too long to throw the yellow, obviously. I watched the replay again today. Jones hits that wall pretty darn hard. The whole right front fender was basically destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
The tires weren't even. The tires were he couldn't drive it. Couldn't even hit the brakes at that point. He was just along for the ride, and it took them until he was at the start finish line, finally coasting for them to finally throw the yellow. And at that point, I'm sure Bubba had checked up a little, but race was green. You're still racing. There's 4 laps to go, whatever it was. You got to keep going. He was looking at maybe a top 10 or a top 15.
He was running in the top 10.
Yeah, he had a good run
time.
going.
Yeah.
So that wasn't his fault that he got wrecked. I tweeted kind of strong afterwards that NASCAR wrecked his car for him. Not exactly, obviously. Obviously the driver's in control of the car, but by NASCAR not throwing the yellow until the last possible second, they put Bubba Wallace in a real vulnerable position. So I can't put that one on the driver, really.
Yeah, I'm not going to put it on him neither. I mean, and also you look at these first 3 races too. I mean, Bubba Wallace has had something happen to him. I mean, obviously, gets second in the 500, But if he doesn't lose, that piece of his car, maybe he finds a little extra to maybe win it. Maybe, I don't know. But then you go to Fontana. He just got inside the top 10, and then all of a sudden him and Keselowski make contact. And then for Vegas too, he had a top 10 run, was looking to get to finish at least inside the top 15, and then NASCAR just doesn't throw the caution and tie it there. So.
I mean, I got crap for this before the season, but for the 3 races run so far, granted, very early, different tracks, but speed-wise, he's run better than Kurt Busch a lot of the time.
Yeah, he's up there. Granted, I don't think he's going to be a playoff guy this year quite yet, but it is encouraging to see him though that at times early on in the season that he is able to run up front like that. Not on pit strategy, straight up.
As bad as I do feel for him, I feel worse for Eric Jones. Like, it seems like every time he's up front, it's either like, something happens or a caution the wrong time or restart wrong lane, whatever. Like, Grant, that's his own choice now. But it's like Eric Jones this year has been sort of that, like, everyone talks about Tyler Reddick and how fast he's been and like the surprise breakout driver. And he's done great, don't get me wrong. But it's like Eric Jones in a petty car doing this. It should get more recognition, and I think he should have gotten better finishes pretty much in every race than he did get. Like, I feel bad for him.
I felt bad. I mean, you can only feel so bad. He did make a mistake. It looked like he just overdrove it there with 2 or 3 laps to go, and probably should. I think he was running 8th or 9th. Probably should have just settled for good enough, like good top 10. That's great day. He was top 5 at Fontana, wasn't he? Didn't he finish top 5 there?
Yep.
Yeah, he wrecked at Daytona late, but I'm with you. Eric Jones has been impressive with every race so far this year, even including the Clash. There've been at least 1 or 2 of those like other Chevy drivers that have stood out. Wow. Reddick every race, of course, with RCR, but like Jones has done it a couple times. Suarez, Chastain this past
I was
week.
Just about to bring up, dude.
Justin Haley's running the top 10 until he always gets wrecked.
But obviously, out of all the other Chevy drivers, Ross Chastain was, in fact, the best. I mean, like, he was up there leading multiple laps at Las Vegas, and then Fox team interviewing Justin Marks while he was leading and stuff. He seemed very happy about it, considering that the other car, Daniel Suarez, DNF early on in the race. But Ross Chastain definitely showed me a lot this weekend too. Like for Fontana, I was a little worried and stuff because he wrecked and stuff like that. He was just trying to figure out this next gen car, Gen 7. And then all of a sudden coming to Vegas and stuff, they have a ton of speed, after unloading and stuff. And then he's able to lead a bunch of laps on a 1.5 miles too. Perhaps he might get a win this year. I'd say he might get a win.
Should we really be too surprised with Chastain, though, considering the Las Vegas where he got his first Xfinity win? And, this was probably one of the first times he was, Chip Ganassi was closing down. They weren't going to put out the top-notch stuff. But now I feel like Trackhouse is giving him his best opportunity to really succeed in the Cup Series.
Oh, yeah, and then they even said on the broadcast, like, that whole one team, that's the 42 team. So it's the same team they had at Chip Ganassi, too. So there's already that chemistry there and stuff. I wouldn't say, was I surprised to see him run up front? No. But was I surprised to see him lead the race as long as he did?
And pull away.
Yeah, and he was pulling away, too, from, Larson. And then, Larson was even trying to chase him down. He almost wrecks himself and Chastain there, too. So, again, this next-gen car is showing off, drivers' true talent and a ton of parity early on. And Chastain's benefiting from that.
And as Irvin Alvarado says in the chat, he also had the power of Dolly Parton.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He was repping Tennessee. He had the ACM Awards. I think that's here in Nashville. He had Tootsies on the back. Yeah, and he had Dolly Parton. Yeah. I should have been rooting for him, but
Yeah, but I've been pleasantly surprised by these guys just sort of every week. It's like sort of like you just have a little lottery, and then a few of them are like really good, other ones sort of peak during the race. Yeah. I like that comers and goers is actually something we can talk about and not just talk about in the sense of like, pit strategy or fuel mileage or whatever. Yeah, actual racing.
It's finally good to see actual racing in the Cup Series again. And I remember one of them was like, I had somebody reply to me on Twitter like, what are you talking about? Like, they've been racing, like, and it's like, you know what I mean? You know, the whole package deal and stuff, they can finally have some input, these drivers can. They can finally make a difference in their setups and in their cars, rather than just, you know, relying on, like, some crazy pit strategy to get them up front, you know?
And the drivers are ripping, all of the drivers are throwing
Christopher
shade
Bell, after he got the pole, he's like, oh, yeah, he's like, this is way better than qualifying in the 550. You know, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. You know, he really hasn't had a chance to really showcase his talents in qualifying too. And then of course last year, you know, there was barely any qualifying at all, so that's good.
Oh yeah, I don't know. We've been talking for 40 minutes on this. I think we have anything else?
We enjoyed this race. Why don't we talk about how others enjoyed this race?
Sure.
Oh yes, that's right. The poll, the famous Iceberg poll.
No, the ratings, the famous ratings.
God. I didn't even hold on. Oh, my
ratings are just how many people watched it. But yeah, how many people did watch?
Yeah, how many watched, Danny?
How many watched? My bad.
We had 4.5 million viewers, which gave it a 2.71 rating, which is up 8.4% from race 3 of 2021, and is up 7% in viewership from race 3 of 2021. It was the most watched sporting event of the weekend, which was big considering that it was also going up against that weekend the coach of Duke's last game coaching there at Duke, which
how do we say his last name?
Coach K. Coach K.
Yeah, just Coach K. That's how they call it.
You can watch one Duke game he's ever coached. I don't know.
The tickets for that game were going for like the cheapest seats were like in the thousands.
Oh yeah,
I can't pay that for college basketball. I'm sorry.
Dude, imagine being like, oh man, everyone's gonna be talking about this game. It's like the Super Bowl. Yeah, I'll drop
and they
6,
lost
000.
too. That's the
they lost bad.
And less people watched that game on TV than watched a NASCAR race. How do you feel about your investment now? God, you gotta feel silly.
You would never hear about that on SportsCenter. That's
no.
NASCAR
It would make
this pretty much independent of the normal sports market.
I saw someone on Twitter this week say that you would have thought, with all the press that was talking about this game, it would not have been lower than NASCAR, but it was.
Oh, it was by a wide margin.
Okay,
Now can we do it? Okay, so now let's move on to the segment on the podcast called The Poll, the famous Iceberg poll. Okay, I did it right that time.
I love what Isaac said in the chat, that Darian's RDW.
Yeah.
So this week we got 16.1 thousand votes, pretty close to the old records that we have. 49% of you said this is a great race. 38% said good. This means that 87% of you were in a net positive. 9% of you said it was an average race, and 2% apiece said it was below average or bad, meaning 4% net negative. As for comments, we have a lot. So I have some pulled up right here. News Guy had the top voted one, or at least like the number one on here. Said incredible race, another crazy finish. I would have loved Ross Chastain to win, but an awesome race nonetheless. DMR says, I had so much joy watching this race. Every single lane worked. The return of off-throttle racing at 1.5 milers, it was just fantastic. Amazing finish as well. I swear I'm not trying to just find the positive ones. I want to find some of the negative ones.
Luck.
Nobody of consequence says, can we all agree that the next gen era is producing some of the best racing we've seen in a decade or more? Arguable.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, so far. I mean, we're only 3 races.
I hesitate to make any like huge, statements
it's so
like that,
early in the season. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait it out.
Let's see, more good stuff. One thing that we didn't talk about a little bit, and this comment's a little longer, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's more about the rear diffuser when they crash. Like, man, if that thing hits the grass wrong, like that's tearing it up. That's tearing the back of the car up like a splitter.
Oh, yeah.
Did Reddick spin out this week?
Yes.
Yes, he did. And they were saying like, oh, that might have dug into the grass. He came back and finished 7th, right?
Yes.
Kyle Busch spun out. And I remember they were talking about when he transitioned from the banking onto the apron.
Hit the diffuser.
Might have hit the diffuser. He finished 4th. So I don't know. Like, yeah, I agree that there's the chance that it could be damaged and it could have serious aero effects and kill the handling of a car. But I don't know. The couple times TV mentioned it, it didn't seem to have much of a factor. So I don't know. I think it's possible. Certainly something to watch, but I think it's passed the test so far.
This is from a very loyal viewer of ours since season 1. DannyBTalks says, very much biased here, but obviously love the winner.
Wow, this guy sounds great.
But the racing was really good overall. Lots of parity in the front. Good racing with a lot of passing. Danny, do I have to read the whole thing? Because I'm pretty sure this was like in the beginning when we were talking about this race. Other than Ives came in clutch this time.
I didn't think he was even going to rate it, so I'm just surprised.
I saw it and I was like, I gotta. Riot Drive says the best mile-and-a-half race I've ever seen since I started watching NASCAR.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because
when did you start watching?
I think during the 550 package. Like, damn, that's right. Because some of y'all, are young. You also started recently watching it. Damn, that's right.
You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna go down to the lowest voted comment just to see if we can find some kind of.
But damn, that's just crazy. Yeah, I just realized that. Like, some of the fan base, who watch our show, have never seen off throttle racing in their before this year. It's crazy.
But I'd be like, man, like there are people who weren't even born in 2018 who've only ever seen this.
They've only ever seen.
Okay. Some of these ones are great at the bottom, man.
Okay.
I'm not gonna read like the bad political ones, but I'll read some of these.
How do you get political of this race?
I don't know. But Mr. Mongoose says when Kyle Busch loses, America wins.
Oh, that's political, all right.
Crispy says Mickey Bowman. Andrew Winslow says too many cautions. Alex Lane says Larson checked up. He let Bowman win. Yeah, I'm sure.
He let him. I'm bored of winning.
You let him win.
He was like, oh, shoot, I got dinner tonight. I can't be taking photos in Victory Lane.
That's funny, though. You got parts of the fan base who really, they generally believe that drivers just give up wins to
Imagine if someone got to the point where they were so good that they like said, I think I can lose this race. I got somewhere to be. I got things to do. Tomorrow.
I'm just not in the mood for it.
Like Marty Robbins back when he raced, because he was a former musician too. He'd be racing, and then he'd be like,
he'd pull off the track.
No, the race would go too long, and he's like, I got a concert tonight, so he'd just pull off the track, like, because he just raced for fun, so he'd pull off the track.
Having a top 10 run, top 5 run.
I hope they at least had a backup driver ready, because that sucks for the team.
I think it was
his team,
but I'm not sure. Yeah, it was his team.
Okay.
The car, he worked on it.
Well,
that was we get paid.
As long as the check clears, I'm fine.
They doubled his crew doubled as the bouncers and security at his concerts.
The crew was the backup singers.
70s. So like this is probably pretty like not, I wouldn't say normal, but this is like in line with NASCAR back then. The lowest one was from Mark Burkmeyer, who says NASCAR sucks these days. They went in the total wrong direction. Let's see. We have a few people that didn't watch. Let's see. I'm like looking for the. Okay, so we had like a 6 out of 10, way too many cautions. I can get that. Wade says all good except for that commentator. Oh, we didn't talk about Danica.
Boyer?
I'm pretty sure it's
Larry
Danica.
Mack.
Probably Danica.
Come on, guys. We get her for one more week. Can she please dial up Ricky Stenhouse from the booth?
Yeah, just dial it one time.
Yeah, especially at home this week. It says Bowman is quite annoying. I don't know I've never seen Cars 2 all the way through or actually paid attention to know this, but if you guys have, Travis says the 43 became Finn from Cars 2. I don't know that reference.
Finn from Cars 2.
McMissile. Is that the spy car?
Oh yeah, I think.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe I think it exploded or something. I think.
Does he die in that movie? Does Finn McMissile die in Cars 2?
But I about died reading this comment from Jonathan. He says Emmett Smith is getting scammed.
We're gonna talk more about that for the Xfinity race. Yeah, we'll save that.
Let's get to the first comment, and y'all want to vote real quick before we find it. Is it positive or negative?
Negative.
These have gotten kind of negative towards the end. I think they're going to be negative.
Negative.
Salty Kyle Busch
I
fan.
looked for the negative. I actively looked for it.
Salty Kyle Busch fan, negative.
It's from Denny Delivers.
No.
Oh, no.
It could be. I don't know.
No. There we go.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to go to the other one. I'm sorry, I don't understand the teenagers memes now. I'm old, people.
No.
So let's go to Tank Slapper and said, I'm sorry, Danny Delivers. Like I read your
Was
comment
Tank Slapper the one last week?
I think he was.
so.
Or he was.
Tank Slapper is definitely a name I've heard before.
Yeah,
So
at
do we
least
want
once
to
this year.
do we want to do the third one, which is a name Thomas Franco that we normally don't hear, or do we want to go to Tank?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Let's just rate them all at this point. Come on.
Yeah.
Thomas Franco. Do we think this is positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative. It's still negative.
Negative.
Sure.
Time to bulldoze Vegas.
Fire them bulldozers up!
Negative. That's
All
right.
right. We've I think we've had enough of the craziness for 1 week. That was the poll. Thank you all for voting. We'll put it out every week on my channel after every race. Let's goal for the year. Let's try and get us to 20,000 votes in 1 week.
And a new goal for me is not to say it prematurely before this. That was my first mishap this year. First miskick.
All right. We ran for the Cup race. Congrats, Bowman and the 48 team. Let's run through these next 2 races a little bit quicker because we're starting to get to the point where we need to move on a little bit. Xfinity race. 16 cars have to start this race from the back because of the weird scenario that NASCAR got themselves in, where basically it was saying, like, if you crash at Auto Club, you got to go to the back because you're going to a backup car, essentially. I don't know. What did you guys think of this? Who overcame the best from this?
A lot of drivers had to go to the rear because they made them run the same car back-to-back races. A lot of them just opted to go to backups. They just said, screw it. I can't remember who it was after the race who was like, yeah, we had to start at the rear, but because there were so many cars at the rear, we basically started 20th. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that big a deal. So I think it kind of became a non-story after a while. The real story, though, and I feel like we should just start with this, is Ty Gibbs obviously goes on to win the race, but he pisses off Ryan Sieg in the process.
Yeah, so okay, so yeah, it's I was feeling bad for Ryan Sieg at first, but then as soon as they get back to racing and stuff after, the whole snow delay and stuff, which that was crazy. The way he was trying to pay him back, though, I didn't like it. Like, yeah, I get, running beside him and stuff and be like, hey, I didn't like that. But he drives him all the way up the track coming off of turn 4 and then not only spins himself out, but then damages the 2 and somebody else behind him. So that I didn't like. I was like, there was a different way you could have done that.
Blame him for let's be real. Ryan Sieg probably is not normally going out there, especially as a lower funded driver, and going to gun out for someone. I don't blame him. You go out there with this guy, which I like Ty Gibbs. I've said over and over I like Ty Gibbs.
I like both of them.
But Ty Gibbs can be a weapon. Mm-hmm. And he
drives like an asshole sometimes.
He still has a lot to learn. Yeah. And I mean, Ryan Sieg even called him out in his interview. He was like, dude, you have the best car here. Why are you doing this on lap 4? Yeah, I get all that and stuff. But if you're going to pay back somebody, don't wreck yourself in the process.
He's got the best car there, but let's not deny he's a talented race car driver too.
He's very talented.
He is.
He's just impatient. See, I almost felt, I'm kind of the opposite of you, Darian. I almost felt more bad for Ryan Sieg after he failed at his payback because I was like, oh, now he's embarrassing himself
it's just
too.
The only part I didn't like about that was because, he
damaged other cars.
Yeah, exactly.
I
That's
agree.
the only part I didn't like.
But I completely understood his frustration. It's lap 4. Ty Gibbs does have the best car in the field. Ryan Sieg's a small team, and he got a little loose, but then Ty Gibbs just drove right under impactor. He knew what he was doing. He was intentionally trying to get Sieg unstable. And early in the race, the track's unpredictable. He spins out. That's completely on Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs, he's a very talented race car driver, but he also has the privilege of having way more resources behind him than especially Ryan Sieg does, and most other drivers in the Xfinity series do. So with great power comes great responsibility. Let's go full Spider-Man. Ty Gibbs has the best car in the field. Everyone knows it. It is the best car. It's probably better than every other Joe Gibbs car too. It's the best car in the field. You got to drive with patience. You can't get in over your head, especially not that you're now full-time. You're racing these guys every single week. You start to earn a reputation, you're going to get junked at some point. People are going to race you differently. They're going to make your life harder. It's going to be more of a struggle. He's still going to win a lot of races because his car is just that much better, but reputation is going to die. It doesn't take much to hurt your reputation with the competition, but also doesn't take much to hurt your reputation with the fans. People still don't forgive Kyle Busch for things he did in 2008, 2010, 2011. Yeah. So I'm just saying, it doesn't take much. He's only 19 years old. He's grown up in the public eye. But if he starts ruffling feathers on a consistent basis, he's never going to be able to shake that reputation. He'll just be Kyle Busch 2.0.
He's religious 2004 Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
I'll add this point really quick, and then we can move on to somebody else. I think this is a part of the whole learning process and also a part of a huge adjustment period for him, because again, going from part-time to full-time, major difference, racing in every single race and stuff too. So it's not like, hey, I'm just going to pick this track, that track, try and win there and stuff. Now he's got to race at tracks that he's never raced at before too. And also it's like, you're not going to have yeah, he does have the best car in the field on a week-to-week basis, but in some of these races, he's not going to be, running, in the lead every single race. You might have a race where it's like, oh, the best, I can get is like, top 5, or like, a top 10 finish. So he's got to learn to dial the aggressiveness back, but he has a bright future still.
Yeah.
I gotta say this did not feel like a typical Ty Gibbs window.
Oh no,
he was
Noah
not.
Gragson.
He did not dominate this. It was Junior Motorsports cars. It was Justin Allgaier, Noah Gragson, Josh Berry. You had a chance for a little bit.
Sam Mayer was winning some laps too.
Sam Mayer always has bad luck whenever he's doing good. So I didn't trust it. I didn't think it was going to work out good for him. But this felt like a Junior Motorsports day, and I guess you can compare this to Kyle Larson's win at Auto Club. It didn't feel like a Kyle Larson day, but Larson won it just like this. Did not feel like a Ty Gibbs day, but Ty Gibbs won it.
Yeah, I mean, Noah Gragson, man, he's impressed me like a lot so far in these first 3 races. I mean, I was a little iffy. I was like, well, yeah, he's ran good and great sometimes in the past, but let's see if he can keep these great runs on a consistent basis. 3 races in, I mean, Vegas, his home track, he was dominating the whole thing, and he would, there were some times too where he was put in a hole because of pit road mishaps and stuff, and he was able to methodically drive his way all the way back to the front. But it was just, unfortunately a bad case, where, the final restart didn't get, the right jump, ends up finishing second. But still, I think him and Ty Gibbs are going to be competing for a lot of wins this year.
I agree. Let's go ahead, Jarrett.
Well, the thing with Noah is like, this is a continuation of last year bleeding over into 2022. Like last year, remember, and I think I brought this up either last week or the week before, we were talking about Noah Gragson is struggling. Oh, can he continue on at JRM? And he turned it on in the last, I'd say, 8 to 10 weeks. And he's basically just continued doing that this year. He's led tons of laps. He's been up front every week. What I'm interested in is that first short track duel, because there's going to be at least one between Ty Gibbs and Noah Gragson, where those two don't have to worry about really damaging their cars too much and just go for broke at each other. I'm going to love that. I'm going to love it.
I just love what we've seen from Gragson. Like you said, Jarrett, he started this year off strong. I just double checking his stats. He's led laps in every race this year. He's finished top 3 in all 3 races this year. Like that's pretty great stuff. I want to see a big improvement from him, but I want to talk about some stuff a little deeper in the field. I felt really bad for Ryan Vargas. I saw his tweets and stuff afterwards. I know he's just out there trying to finish on the lead lap. He's just trying out there to be out there and learn and bring that car home clean. And I know we had a commenter mention earlier. I think we even have a super chat mention it. Jesse Iwuji just got loose.
Well, it's inexcusable because, it's one thing to get loose, battling for position. Okay. You're going full speed. I get all that. But Jesse Iwuji has been consistently off the pace in these first 3 races. Like, how is a car that slow getting that loose in front of, other guys, in the midfield and stuff too? And unfortunately too, this is like the worst case scenario because Ryan Vargas, he's a mid-pack driver and stuff, but he has a massive following on social media too. So when he was involved in that wreck, I was like, oh yeah, everybody's going to come at Jesse Iwuji. But then also too, what was new, I have never seen Ryan Vargas get this animated after a wreck before too, or even after a race, and I've seen him, personally race in late models in California and all that stuff. He was like throwing his Hans of Ice and stuff too. And he was like, even looking at the replay, he was like, oh, you just lost it. There you go too. So that also had something to do with it.
The consensus that I'm getting across the garage is that there is a universal kind of agreement that most people in NASCAR don't agree that Jesse Iwuji is ready to be in the position that he is in. And I don't want to say this in a bad way, but it kind of become apparent during those iRacing events where he somehow beat out so many people in popularity with fans that there seems to be some kind of push to make him something that he's just not. And I don't want to say this in a bad and make it sound bad or anything, but he's not going to be on the same level as your Bubba Wallace. He's not going to be that. Yes, that is a great story for an African American soldier veteran to make it in NASCAR, but he's just not going to right now.
He's not.
Yeah.
He has not proven up to this point. I mean, like, look at his track record in trucks and stuff. Yeah, I mean, we even had him on the show too. Yeah.
Was it Charlotte? I want to say in either 2020 or 2021. I think it was 2020, where it's like he was getting lapped on like lap 9, and people were like on the radio talking about how slow he was. Like, nice guy. Like.
Great story.
For him because he was the first driver I ever interviewed. And it was a cool experience.
He was on this show season 1. Yeah, I remember that too. He seems like an awesome dude, but again, it's like look at his track record. Yeah, exactly.
Off of that alone.
And it's just they made a big deal about him having a Hendrick engine, I think, for the whole season, and it's like, it's not going to fix it. I mean,
you might not want to say that with these kind of results.
Yeah, so it makes me think, like, damn, like, what did he have to say? Like, how did he get Emmett Smith involved in this whole deal?
It's the story. I think that the idea.
I think that's
is he Air Force, Marine? I forget what he is now.
He's military. I don't know. He's military. That's all.
I'm wanting to say Marine, but I might be wrong.
I don't think he's a Marine. I think it's is it the Navy?
Navy.
Yeah,
Navy.
Because he was in the Navy Hall last year.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great story. Like that's how they sold it. Is
and he played football. He played football there at the Naval Academy too and stuff. Yeah, exactly. It's a good story. But in what other sport is like a 30-something year old person like who shouldn't be there, all of a sudden, like he's, in like one of the in one of the top 3 series of NASCAR full time. You know what I mean? It just doesn't happen anywhere else except in racing, of course. And
actually, Beast makes a good point. Jesse is from the Dallas area, which Smith obviously.
Oh, okay. So that's another thing.
That explains a lot.
So there's a lot of connections there, but who in NASCAR?
I did want to say one thing here, and I might be wrong in this stat, but I don't think I am because I did research on this for a video a couple years ago, and I don't think anything has happened since then. When Raja Karuf makes his debut in the NASCAR Xfinity Series this year, because Jesse Iwuji is running a full-time season, when those two compete in the same race, as long as nothing else has happened I'm not aware of, this will be the first time since Portland 2000 where 2 African-American racers have been in the same race in the top 3 series, the last 2 being Bill Lester and Bobby Norfleet.
That's if Jesse, because aren't they starting on this year's owners points for qualifying now? That's if Jesse makes the field.
Oh no!
I'm not trying to be a jerk.
It's fair.
We've got a lot of Xfinity cars coming up these races. So
now there's a high car count this year, and owners points don't go into Jesse's favor.
Exactly. So look, I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the season. Hopefully Jesse can improve some, but right now it's not looking good. But another driver too, who was also causing problems, Joe Graff Jr. The week after the 07 wins, then all of a sudden, there was 2 incidents. The first incident, him and the 92 of Kyle Weatherman apparently got together. Weatherman on the radio. It sounded like Weatherman's spotter was like, yeah, that 07, blah, blah, blah. I'm not shocked, all that. But then the second incident, when he got loose on the coming off of turn 2, getting loose on the straightaway and bumping into Matt Mills. And then Matt Mills, wham, right in the inside wall there too. So, I mean, Jesse Iwuji had his problems and stuff, but he wasn't the only weapon out there. There were a couple.
The Xfinity Series just full of weapons, and 2 guys who can be weapons at times. They dueled it out for the win at the end of it.
Oh, yeah.
See, I want to say something right now. I know there's a lot of talk about the restart at the end, but I believe when Ty Gibbs went, they were actually outside of the restart zone. So they're according to NASCAR's rules, if the leader goes and gets beat to the line, even when he goes in the restart zone and isn't, Ty Gibbs didn't go when he was in it, he went after. I personally don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, me neither. I don't see anything wrong.
I know people. I think if this was Justin Allgaier winning this way, nobody really would make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
I think it's because it was Ty Gibbs, and Noah Gragson is a popular driver to beat. But I don't think he broke any rules. Nobody really talked that much about it, and
no.
I don't see Fox and NASCAR having a fix being in for Ty Gibbs to win like that.
I wonder if Fox will. I wonder if Fox will turn it into something. It wouldn't surprise me.
Maybe they'll animate Ty Gibbs as Flash from The Incredibles.
That's his profile pic too now.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Moving on to the truck series. What did you guys think of the truck series?
It's kind of just typical trucks Las Vegas. I mean, Las Vegas has always been a good track for the truck series.
Not that typical. We all picked Kyle Busch, and honestly,
hey, Chandler
true.
Smith. Hey, yeah, he got second. I mean, but hey, props to Chandler Smith, man. I mean, like he's doing good, to start off 2022. I made a video about him like way back in 2018 when he was just mostly racing late models, and he made some select ARCA series starts. And he's been somebody I've had my eye on for quite some time, and he's really showing out this year too. So I feel like him and that team, they'll get multiple wins. And also Kyle Busch Motorsports, man, they're officially back in the truck series. I mean, in qualifying, they were all 1, 2, 3. So they have the right drivers, and they have, a ton of speed with them.
They had that bad run with, drivers that weren't up to their standards for a little bit, but now I think they've got a lineup that they can depend on to win when Kyle isn't in the seat. And that's what Kyle wants to see more. He wants to see guys that can do what he does in the same equipment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then also there was that one incident too. Well, there was a little clickbaity video that said Kyle Busch spun Christian Eckes, but Eckes, he blocked him, bro. Like Kyle Busch was clearly there. They were battling for the lead. He shouldn't have blocked him any further. Like Kyle Busch, what is he supposed to do? Just let off the throttle and stuff? Like, no, he's going to keep racing. So that wasn't Kyle Busch's fault.
Speaking of keeping racing, NASCAR kept the racing even though Spencer Boyd was sitting in the inside on backstretch and dislocated his shoulder.
That was not good.
This could be the truck series worst call. They've had a lot of bad calls. Like I say,
Charlotte.
That Charlotte incident. I remember at Dirt Bristol, there was a car slow as could be, way off the pace, and ultimately Kyle Larson hit him. They've had a lot of bad calls over the last few seasons. This was probably their worst.
And they said they took ownership. They said, yeah, we can't do that. We take the blame for that one, and they're going to take measures to make sure it doesn't happen again. I just think, maybe they don't have people positioned in the right spots to see the whole track, but I think more than anything, it's just a lack of resources. If I had to guess, I just think we've talked about it on this show before. Like truck races, sometimes cleanup takes way longer after a caution than we feel like it should. Feels like it takes longer for the AMR team to get to the driver. I just feel like for cup races, it's all hands on deck. They've got everybody ready. Track needs to be dry. They have track dryers from all across the country there. Trucks, and maybe to an extent Xfinity, it's more of a skeleton crew. And I think, quite honestly, they just didn't have a person in it. They had only a few officials maybe stationed around. They didn't have somebody, or they didn't have a camera spotted on that section. They didn't have enough people to see it. So I just think they need to invest in the resources to make sure that at a big fast track like this, you can see every nook and cranny, because that was a blatant one. He's sitting there in a junked truck for almost 2 full laps before they threw a caution for a different incident. Just like that obviously cannot happen.
And it made it look bad because, they threw a caution for another incident. They threw a caution for, what was it, John Hunter Nemechek? Is that who was involved in that? I mean, it was a big name. It made it seem like he didn't matter, but then Nemechek mattered.
It's just more visible, I imagine. But yeah, it certainly kind of added insult to injury. Boyd was probably running near the back. They weren't paying attention to him. There obviously wasn't a camera on him, locked on him. So he spins. It's just, oh well.
Maybe they
if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around, did it actually happen? It's not unacceptable, but that, like I said, kind of adds insult to injury.
Yeah.
And
it's too often. It's too often anymore. And I know that was a big problem overall last year, but it's like, if we're already having these issues this early, I mean, there's nothing really else to say. They need to clean it up.
It's a common denominator for the officiating of the truck series. That's the common denominator. Cup series has some bad calls. Xfinity series has some bad calls, but it's commonly in the truck series.
And I don't think it's by any means malice of NASCAR's part.
Not in this case, at least.
No, but I think it's just I think it's carelessness. And when it comes to safety, carelessness is the last thing that should be in a description. Carelessness when it comes to safety leads to injured and sometimes killed drivers. And I don't care how safe these cars or trucks are. never take your foot off the throttle when it comes to that.
They're still going really fast around ovals, short
Yeah.
tracks, and just every type of track you can think of. Like, yeah, you can make these cars as safe as you want, but there's still always going to be an element of danger. And again, can't get careless like this again, because thankfully, when he was sitting there, wasn't another truck that wrecked into him or crashed into him, that sort of thing. So.
But he was injured. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
Obviously,
that's the
NASCAR-
thing. He was hurt.
NASCAR
yeah.
didn't know that at the time, but this is why they always pride themselves on their response time. A lot of times on like these accident reports, they'll say like, "Oh, we were at the driver's car within 18 seconds of the crash," or something like that. They'll say things like that. They're really detailed because it's important. Every second matters. But they left a guy sitting there for probably 60 seconds longer than he should have been.
And that's surprising too, because at Daytona, you had some of the fan base complain like, "Oh, why'd they throw that caution there?" Well, there was oil, once they were about to reach the start finish line again too. And then, less than a month later, you had this happening. Yeah, so not a good look, but hopefully it never happens again.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough of talking about this weekend's past races. For now, though, we are funded by viewers like you. So at this point, I need someone to get me a stopwatch. I'd like to take 3 minutes to thank some of our donations we've had tonight.
I'll get it right now.
All right.
Let me know.
Let's start.
All right, tell me when.
Hold on, just refresh the page so I can see everything. Okay, I'm ready now.
Go.
Here we go.
Alrighty, here. Let me scroll to the bottom of these. Been a decent amount of them. Okay, first one came in from Gordon Smith 24. Appreciate the $5. He said, "Congratulations to Ryan Sieg for now having the worst payback attempt in NASCAR history. Gibbs didn't even have to pit after the fact." Oh, yeah, that's got to sting.
That's rough.
Vote Kyle 3000. Appreciate the generous 1999. Said, "I'm a Ford guy at heart, but seeing that hack back into wins always puts a smile on my face. Have a good show." Thank you, Kyle. Hope you're having a good night too. Ty Band's the Bowman fan. I bet this guy's just happy as I am. $5. Appreciate that. Just because Bowman won the race, I'll share my number one fan status for you, Danny B. Hey, I appreciate that, Ty Bands. We can both be number one fans. Isaac, come in with $4.99. Appreciate that, Isaac. Every time Ty Gibbs wins, it reminded me how... Gosh, okay. This is harsh. Every time Ty Gibbs wins, it reminded me how pathetic my life is. While he's 19 and winning Xfinity races, I'm grinding and struggling in college at 22. Don't need to be so harsh on yourself,
Hey,
dude.
we've all been there.
He's the grandson of Joe Gibbs. No need to feel...
Yeah.
No need to down yourself like that.
Self-appreciating sense of humor. I like it.
That's why it freed me back a little bit. Michael Jensen coming in at $5. Appreciate that. LaJoy, another top 15. That is a solid note that no one really paid attention to. Ty Dillon was third, top 20. And Almirola, only driver of all three top 10. New car is helping parity early so far. Very much the truth right there, Michael Jensen. Zaxel TV coming in with Canadian $5. Appreciate that. 3 races, 3 wrecks. Does Brad Wrecklowski go 4 for 4 on Sunday? Tune into Fox Sports Sunday at 3:30 Eastern Time. That's funny. GN coming up to $2. Appreciate that. Can't Fontana get diamond grinded like Indy in 05? I'm not familiar with that story. Do you guys know about that?
So yeah, it's just this technique that some tracks do to smooth out their racing surface, and the Indy Speedway did that before the 2005 season. The one drawback with that was that for the F1 race they had a tire problem because the Michelin tires kept blowing up and stuff. So that's why they were ready.
They did that in Charlotte too, and it led to a lot of flat tires and crashes.
Yeah. So.
All right, moving on from that. Preston Friel's coming in with a $9.99. Appreciate that. Funny, we talked about this. How long until Emmitt Smith starts asking for his money back? Jesse seems like a nice guy, but he shouldn't be on the track. His fastest lap of the race was slower than Poole and 47 car by 0.3. That's not good, especially if they're bragging about a Hendrick engine.
Yeah, that's not good.
Nova Stone 12, appreciate the $5. If racing on the 1.5 mile races stay great, do you think we should return to Indy Oval, Second California, and Charlotte doubleheader Oval and Roval?
Keep the Roval. I think Auto Club should stay with one date, but I would be open to keep bringing the Brickyard 400 back.
Yeah, I'd be open
just
to
for
it.
ratings,
And
just for the ratings
and
aspect.
Sure.
We talked about this a little bit last week. If the 1.5 mile stay as good as they have been, Maybe we can let Auto Club become the short track after all. Okay, that's 3 minutes.
Yep.
Okay.
I saw a super chat. We'll get to at the end of the show that kind of also covers that same topic. I'm looking forward to. Appreciate that. And also, before we get to the next round, this show is also brought to you by our friends at Lionel Racing. You can pre-order your authentic NASCAR diecast at lionelracing.com or official Lionel Racing retailers. You can find occasionally some local places, like I have a place called JP's NASCAR I can purchase Lionel Racing diecast from, or you can order them online through other places like Plan B Sales and also other distributors of Lionel Racing. And you can get your NASCAR Authentics waves from your local Walmarts, as I see that Eric has been able to pick up one here recently. Eric, what you got there? Yeah, I kind of forgot about this. I feel terrible. But yeah, I have a Bubba Wallace McDonald's car. Love this paint scheme. Wanted to pick that up. This isn't his Talladega win. It was his other one that I really liked. And then I just held this one up because I'm really excited. This is a 2005 DeWalt car, but Roush Fenway and Chris Buescher are running a Matt Kenseth 2004 throwback at Darlington in a few months. And they announced that earlier this week. That was pretty cool.
Darian, what are you rocking there?
This is a 2002 Jerry Nadeau 25 car. Unfortunately, he did not last the entire season in this ride. He was booted for Brian Vickers the following year, he was booted for Joe Nemechek the following year, but he almost won a race for the Petties in their 44 car at Sonoma. But yeah, it's a pretty cool car. I mean, he did drive this car from 2000 to 2002 and did win at Atlanta. So, and I also see Jarrett's car is also from 2002.
Jarrett, slide that over a little bit because it's right behind the Lionel Racing logo.
Here.
Here. More on that side. More on that side.
Toss it to me. I'm open.
No, this right here is Jimmy Spencer's 2002 Animal diecast.
That's epic. I love that.
I love this car. I had a 164 of it as a kid, and it got destroyed because, well, what is to do with a car like that when you are 5 years old but destroy it? And so when I found this at Nashville, I knew I had to get it. So, Animal.
That's good.
Well,
yeah,
that reminds me. I don't know where it is. It's probably at my parents' house somewhere, but I need to find it. One of the first die casts I bought with my allowance was like 2003, I think, a Jimmy Spencer car. And I just walked into this. We had a cool NASCAR kind of store, kind of like a JP's NASCAR outlet or whatever, here in the Houston area. It's not there anymore, sadly. But I remember walking in. I was like, I'm gonna buy a die cast, and I picked Jimmy Spencer. I didn't know anything about Jimmy Spencer. I just probably liked the Target car. No idea what came over me, but that's the one I got. And it was like that one, but without the Muppets. That reminded me I need to go find it.
I am not without a diecast, but I would like for you guys to guess as to what I've got. It's a 164 scale.
Alex Bowman.
I'm surprised it's not like the Dr. Pepper car you picked up recently, or is it a Dr. Pepper car?
No, it's a 164. I don't have that one 164.
Okay, that's why I didn't think so. Well, I have no idea. Jeff Gordon.
Alex Bowman first one.
Jimmy Spencer.
I have got Kyle Busch FLMs.
Wow.
That's a random one. Is that from the latest Authentics wave?
No, this is not the Authentics version. It's the $8 one. I liked it. I like this game. I picked it up at JP's NASCAR, but how ironic is it that the Bowman fan has this one?
Wow.
But appreciate our folks over at Lionel Racing for being a continued sponsor and supporter of this show. You can pre-order your diecast lionelracing.com. If you're a Bowman fan, go pre-order Las Vegas Win.
Yeah. An order.
All right, and Darian. I still don't have the graphic, but
falling asleep.
I still don't have the graphic. You're tired, but how can you be tired when we just went under a severe thunderstorm warning?
Yes, I was just getting ready. Sorry, guys. And it's the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Jared, what do we have on tap for tonight?
I'm surprised the mic stayed in. Well,
yeah.
We'll start off with a little bit of sad news. If you haven't heard, DGR ARCA hauler driver Steven Stotts was killed in an accident earlier this week en route to Phoenix. So I just want to say right now that we keep them in our thoughts and prayers. Mm-hmm. But I figure we get the bad out of the way first. But there's a lot of good a lot of good that's coming this week in the NASCAR world. And it comes from not in the NASCAR world, but with NASCAR drivers, or former too. Ryan Blaney and Dave Blaney are going to be racing together in the SRX season finale in Sharon. Alex Bowman is now selling all skill, no luck shirts with 18% going to animal shelters. And Kyle Busch has marked his shirts down to 48% off. So Kyle Busch fans everywhere are wishing that it was Daniel Suarez that beat him. A bad joke, I get it.
No, I have not pre-ordered the shirt, unfortunately. Guess I have a Silverado, so.
Team Stange Racing will enter the number 79 Ford into 8 races this year with former F1 driver, God, I hope I'm saying this right, Tarso Marquez.
I think that's right.
With Digital Gold LLC and their DIGAU token. Races that they're going to be in this year are going to be Road America, the Indy Road Course, Watkins Glen, Daytona, the Roval, Las Vegas, Homestead, and the season finale in Phoenix. So that's something to look out for.
They're a Ford. Do they have any connection to Stuart Haas or someone like that, maybe?
I didn't see too much into it. I just saw like this stuff pop up. I'm like, hey, new team. So maybe, I'm not sure. But Bristol has changed its banking for its dirt surface this year. It will be a progressive banking, steeper at the top, then at the bottom, with the flatter being at the bottom, obviously. It's 16 degrees at the bottom to 18 and then 19 degrees. Last year was straight 18 to 19 degree banking. This is according to Bob Pockris.
This should help them run the top line a little better, I think.
Yeah.
Austin Cindric's Daytona 500 car will be in the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America in Daytona. So it ended up there after all.
Unfortunately, though, due to Penske's rules, they took all the confetti off of it.
Damn.
Oh, damn.
Well, in better news even than that, Nashville Fair Board member Jason Bergeron resigned Tuesday, which means that the one who was most against Bristol and SMI's proposal for the fairgrounds is out. He left a month early, hopefully in disgrace.
Bye-bye.
He just realized that he couldn't win, so he left.
Yeah, goodbye.
He rage quitted it.
Oh my God!
Don't let the door hit you in the ass.
I love how involved we are in this Nashville politics.
Well, 2 of us live here, so.
But do you think Jared did at this point?
He might,
but you don't yet. You're like, I'm voting him out before I get there.
He's getting there.
You're out. Anyway, but there's no update currently when it comes to when the board will get financial details on this. So, it's stuck in place, but stuck in the best way possible without Jason Bergeron. And then to finish this off, M&M's is offering the opportunity for fans to vote for the final throwback scheme. The options are the M&M's 1998 scheme, 2002, 2003, 2007, and 2008. Real quick, as we finish this off, what are your guys' votes?
2007. 2007.
See, the 2000, I think it was the 03 one. The 03 one looked really cool, but I kind of want the 02 one. I feel like it may look lame on the next gen, but that's what I was going with.
I like the 02, but I also like the symbolism of 08, which was Kyle Busch's first.
I'm going 08. I think if you're going to, for the guy who's been with M&M's the longest in NASCAR, I think he deserves his own throwback.
That's a good point.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing against him. Don't do 07. David Gilliland has forgotten about that.
That'll be the most random. It'll be the most random throwback scheme.
I hope it ends in a tie. Just so we can say it's a damn tie.
They're probably going to pick the worst one that got the least votes, like the Newman Oscar Mayer
thing
from a few years ago. It's like, that one won?
Somewhere Harris Lou is having PTSD.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all.
Oh, that'll do it. And that'll do it for the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now, back to the show.
Eric, something looks different about you.
Yeah.
This matches my shirt. I feel very outdoorsy. Which doesn't really relate to our other NASCAR Weekly Podcast sponsor necessarily, I guess. But Forney Industries is always here. They're always a part of the show. Forney offers a full line of welding and plasma cutting machines, as well as metalworking, accessories, and much more. For do-it-yourselfers or if you're a professional, which unfortunately we are not professionals, Forney has everything you need for your next project. So whether you're a beginner, whether you're an expert, Forney's got what you need. Shop Forney's top-of-the-line products at forneyend.com. Forney, short for industries.com, or check them out at an authorized Forney dealer near you. And I'm wearing the hat so you get an idea of what the logo looks like. Usually the logo's in green, but this hat, it just matches. It's very outdoorsy looking hat. I feel like I'm ready to go on like a safari or something.
See, there's 3 different ones. So you said the Forney logo's usually in green. You have the black version, and then Danny on the podcast has the white version. So there's 3 different ones.
You can't miss it.
Yeah, can't miss it at all.
Guys,
What?
I'm scared.
Why are you scared? What? What's happening?
This looks like a bonnet.
Can you hear the rumble?
I think I just saw a ghost.
Whoa!
Oh!
That's pretty spooky. Yeah.
That is spooky. Yeah,
My goodness.
talk
Oh
about
my
that some more.
gosh, guys! The ghost just told me
What?
that he wants a band to be named after him, and he wants to sponsor a NASCAR car.
Wow.
Danny's on drugs.
How ironic!
What a shopping list. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten a lot of questions the last couple of days, well, the last day since we made it public, about how this whole ghost coming to NASCAR deal came together. So I figured most people watching the stream have probably seen, or at least caught a glimpse of the announcement that I put out on my channel yesterday. But yes, Ghost, popular rock metal band, will be on Bailey Currie's number 4 Chevrolet this weekend at Phoenix Raceway in the Xfinity Series. I'm super excited because Out of the Groove, we got a little decal on the side as well next to the Papa 4. Look, it's a wild thing. The reception yesterday was honestly insane. A ton of Ghost fans, of course, who know nothing about NASCAR coming over saying, what, Ghost on NASCAR? I can get behind this. A lot of NASCAR fans who, a lot of them knew Ghost and were excited to see the crossover, but many others, a lot of rock music, a lot of metalheads in NASCAR, they were just excited to see a crossover, period. We haven't seen a metal NASCAR crossover in a few years. I remember Tyler Reddick had Megadeth, I think, on his car a few years ago.
Almost saw Slayer.
Almost saw Slayer, and that was another point a lot of people made. They allowed Ghost on a car. Yes, they did. We got approval. I'm hoping and praying Mike Helton doesn't walk through the garage area on Saturday and say, whoa, what's going on over there?
No approval. Get out of here.
But no, it's pretty cool. And Ghost, obviously, if you know anything about Ghost, they do have a very theatrical presence, but at the core of it, it's kind of a parody. It's a silly, goofy, just it's a fun band. It's a very digestible mainstream metal band these days. So it's really cool to introduce them to NASCAR. It came together really randomly. I'll give you a little background information as to how this even happened, because if you've been watching this podcast or my show for a few years now, I've worn Ghost t-shirts and videos. Like, I've been a fan of them since college, so at least 4, 5, 6 years now. It came together randomly. I was talking to one of the guys I work with, and this is months ago, and I mentioned, oh yeah, Ghost is my favorite band. We're in the car driving, and he got super into it. He started listening, and that's now his favorite band as well. And so a couple months ago, when Ghost announced their new album that comes out this Friday in Para, we kind of talked, and then he sent an email out to the record label asking, hey, if they want to be a part of the car. And it just worked out. The team at Ghost thought it was a great idea. They wanted to do something big here in America. They just wrapped up a big tour. I obviously was on board because I'm like, it's a great crossover opportunity. It's a super cool deal to get to work with some of their creative team. And it's been a great experience. So working with the folks at Ghost, Loma Vista Recordings, Craig Barancelli and AE Engine, whole team that we've come together to mount this marketing effort, this crazy, wild, wacky crossover episode. It's been really cool. So excited to see the car on track. I'll be at Phoenix. I'm flying out tomorrow. I'll be there this weekend for the Xfinity and the Cup race, and actually probably for the ARCA race even. So if you're out at the racetrack and you see me, feel free to say hi. Take plenty of photos of the Ghost car when you see it on track. Hopefully Bailey has a solid top 20, top 15 run. Would be awesome if he can do something like that. But yeah, we've been working on a lot of cool stuff over there.
And obviously, don't want to get into the specifics of cost or anything like that, but being with the team they're with, it was an affordable marketing opportunity for Ghost, to get their presence in NASCAR, and in a big way too. Obviously, being promoted by Eric, and Eric, I know you're humble as can be, but you're also probably one of the biggest NASCAR genre independent channels out there, so that's a really big deal for them to work with you in that sense. But also, you've had your logo on a car before. You're on this car. This is the first time, though, your logo is on a diecast that's being produced. They sold exclusive diecast from the Ghost website already sold out. I think they were selling like what 500, something like that.
Yeah, they made
that.
it very, very limited, and Ghost fans are crazy. That's what was so exciting as well, as the reception on across all their socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, our YouTube. There are a lot of people on my channel that aren't usually on my channel. The comments were wild. Like Ghost fans, rock music, metal fans, they were thrilled to see this kind of crossover. It's just the kind of random fun thing that they love to support. So hopefully you get some new eyes tuning into the race this weekend as well. I think Ghost has done a great job. I mean, I know the moment I knew I was going to be a part of this, I wanted to make sure their introduction to NASCAR was as big and theatrical as they are. And I think we've, for the most part, achieved that. I had a lot of fun filming that wacky skit yesterday. That
was
you guys
cool.
saw.
That was cool.
And I think the car is going to look great on track. So
here's what I got to ask you, Eric.
Yeah.
When you're at the racetrack on Saturday, do you wear it out of the groove shirt or do you wear a Ghost shirt?
You can switch it up. Switch it up, right?
I don't want to spoil it, but I actually might kind of have a sort of a combo effect going. We're gonna see
Yay!
yeah.
Nice,
So-
nice. That's cool.
I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
Out of the Ghost.
Well, I'll say this
Ghost of the
about
Groove.
Ghost. Like, I got to see Ghost live in 2016. It is unreal, the experience in person. It no other band. I've probably seen, like, at this point 30 or 40 bands live. There is nothing like a Ghost concert. Doesn't matter.
Probably the closest thing I've been to is Kiss. I don't know how that compares to them.
I know
No,
that's an
no, it's
inspiration
not.
for
It-
sure.
It might be an inspiration, but it's a different experience. Like,
Yeah.
the crowd atmosphere is just it's one of a kind. You have to go to a Ghost concert.
Yeah. Why is my camera not focusing? I don't know. But anyways, I'm not there. Oh, there we go. Finally, it's focused again. Admittedly
It
so,
was
I
the
am not
Ghost.
it was the Ghost. It took my focus away. But I am not the biggest, metal guy or rock guy out there and stuff. But I do listen, I do listen to it occasionally and stuff. And when does their album drop again, Eric?
Friday, 2 days.
Friday? Okay, I'll make sure to download it and stuff and listen to it, and hey, that's the effect, that they have on me and stuff. I'm a big NASCAR fan. I see the Ghost car running. I might as well just download their album and see what it sounds like.
Admittedly, I do gotta say, don't hate me for this, Eric. I'm not really as familiar with Ghost, so I actually had to go and listen to a lot of their music, and I realized
That was the point of this whole deal.
I realized Ghost is a band that I've heard and I've enjoyed a lot of their songs. I just didn't know it was Ghost who did it. Square Hammer. I've listened to that one before. I like that song, and I found out that was one of their songs. Like, oh, well, cool. I like this song.
Yeah,
Sweet.
And maybe in the future they might want to do this again sometime. You never know, or maybe another band might want to hop on board.
We'll see.
And stuff, so.
I just love it's exposing a whole new audience to NASCAR and exposing a whole new audience to a up and coming is not the right word. They're here now, but still growing rock act band. I think that's really cool. So
How many years have they been making music? Because the lead singer
around since they released their first stuff in like 2009, 2010.
I was gonna say the lead
Oh, wow.
singer is kind of an older guy now at this point, ain't he?
He's like 40-ish, I think. He wears a full costume on stage.
You can't tell how old he is.
Yeah, not really. So
It's like the wrestler Sting. That dude, if you see him without makeup, you're like, dang, that dude wrestles. But you see him wearing makeup, you're like, oh yeah, okay, go at it.
Yeah. And actually, I want to give a shout out to JD Motorsports as well. They've been really good sports about this whole deal. Obviously, it's a good deal for them, gives them some extra exposure as well. But Bailey Curry, Tony, the guys over there, they've helped with a lot of the marketing stuff. And obviously, Bailey, he's been down for I'm going to Phoenix tomorrow to hopefully film some stuff with him, actually. And let's just say he's a trooper. He is up for anything. And I respect that and appreciate that.
I really enjoyed his method acting in the announcement video.
Yeah.
He is in himself a character. Absolutely. But I thank you guys. I appreciate the three of you guys for supporting and helping get the word out, of course, and everyone watching who's seen the announcement. Even if you're not a Ghost fan, I still appreciate the support, the conversation, the feedback, and everything. This is something new for me to be like. I put that premiere on my channel that just said Ghost, and everyone's like, "What is this doing on Eric's channel?" It was different. It certainly was a unique style of content for me to be putting on my channel, and a unique way for me to be promoting something. But it's something that I knew I was going to have a lot of fun with, and I'm glad that a lot of viewers seem to be having a decent amount of fun with it as well. So I appreciate it.
I remember when you first, were telling us about this and stuff, and like I had never seen you this excited for anything ever like that. And you were just...
like a month and a half ago. This was nothing. This was literally I was like, oh, I'm excited for Ghost's new album in a few weeks, and now
and
it's
all
like
of a sudden now you brought him to the sport and stuff. And you have him on a
And
concert.
then
that's cool.
you got to go to a concert recently too, didn't you?
Yeah, I saw him live a couple weeks ago. So there's theatrical as ever. I keep using that word, but like music's
It
great and
really
everything, but
is.
it's a spectacle as well. They put on they take pride in their stage show, and I respect that.
I think that's honestly what's attracted me to like more like metal rock music here lately is that the songs are not only good, but the concert experience is just so much better.
Yeah, no, I appreciate a good experience. Like surrounding, it needs to be visual. It's obviously going to shake your body and shake your skull a little bit, but I appreciate a multi-dimensional experience. So no, that's always drawn me to Ghost, and that's what we're hoping to bring to the racetrack this Saturday. So, but yeah, appreciate it. Pretty exciting stuff. I can't wait.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's get everybody set up for not Las Vegas as it says in our thing. Phoenix. Let's get set up for Phoenix this weekend, and we have got 2 races: Xfinity Series and a Cup Series. The Xfinity race will be the United Reynolds 200, which is a 200-lap race scheduled to start at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1 with radio coverage brought to you by MRN. Weather will be a whole lot better there than it is in Tennessee, that's for sure. Saturday, the high will be 75 degrees, sunny and beautiful, a 0% chance of rain. Defending winner of this race is Austin Cindric, so we are guaranteed a new winner of him not being in the series. And we will have Daniel Suarez and Joey Logano as 2 Cup drivers who will be joining Adam Alexander in the booth. I'm trying to say Vince Welch, but he's not that one. Cup race name will be the oh gosh, I can never say this. Is it Rough Mortgage 500K? They're calling it 500K. That's interesting.
It's always been 500K at Phoenix.
Well, this is not 500 laps. Thank goodness. It's 312 laps. This race will be starting at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and it'll be on Fox with radio coverage by MRN. Weather, we have got beautiful conditions. 80 degrees, beautiful and sunny, and 0% chance of rain. Defending winner of this race, Martin Truex Jr. and Danica Patrick will be back in the Fox booth.
Yeah. I see some people in the chat that were asking, what are the chances of snow like Vegas? I'm like, trust me, it's Phoenix. It's not going to snow. Vegas, it's not going to snow.
That's what they said about Vegas. I wouldn't have expected snow.
It snowed there. I mean, a few times, but not too much.
We didn't really talk about this. So, Tennessee, anything can happen. Last Saturday, I was practicing for a fishing tournament in 70 degrees in shorts, thinking, this is amazing. I love March, my favorite time of year. This weekend, my tournament gets canceled because we are going to be having a high of 68 Friday, but then also low of 21, getting 1 to 3 inches of snow Friday night. And because of that and the 15 to 25 mile per hour winds on Saturday, my tournament got canceled. Darian, you lived in Las Vegas forever. What was the chances that it would snow? How many times did you ever see snow there?
Only twice growing up. Like, it snowed one night when I was in 5th grade, and as a matter of fact, on Christmas Eve during my senior year of high school in 2015. So yeah, I mean, it's only snowed twice. Well, now 3 times there now that I've seen. But I don't know, Vegas weather can be very bipolar sometimes too, man. It can just be all over the place.
Well, I don't want to bet on the weather, but maybe I do want to bet on the race. Darian, what are the betting odds for this weekend?
Yes, I have those ready. The betting odds of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Let's go over this weekend's favorites for the Cup Series. Kyle Larson enters as this weekend's favorite at plus 350. Second to him is Kyle Busch at plus 700. Third is Martin Truex Jr., also plus 700. Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin round out the top 5 of my personal favorites at plus 800. Now, as for the best of the rest, we have 3 candidates. Joey Logano enters this weekend at plus 900. Ryan Blaney at plus 1,200. And this is very shocking. Kevin Harvick is plus 2,000. Kevin Harvick
at Phoenix?
At Phoenix.
He's fell off, though.
Yeah, but again, it's still Phoenix,
plus
though.
ratio.
Yeah.
I know who I'm going to put $5 on just for
that. So, hey, put some money on Harvick, man, because, hey, look, even if you put, like, a small little bet, like, hey, Harvick will get a top 5, you're still bound to get some money, though. It's a pretty good payday, so. But as for the underdogs, here are 5 underdogs you should look out for this weekend. Austin Cindric enters this weekend at plus 5,000. I mean, he's dominated there in the Xfinity Series, but for the Cup, might be a different story, but we'll find out this weekend. Kurt Busch is also plus 5,000. Chase Briscoe plus 5,000. And the final 2, Daniel Suarez at plus 8,000. And my personal favorite underdog, Chris Buescher at plus 10,000. This might be a track where he can potentially shine on too. At least a top 10 perhaps this weekend for Chris Buescher. So we'll see. But those are the betting odds.
All right. And with that being said, we know the odds of these guys to win. Now let's pick them to win. Going into this week, the pick points are the chat is leading with 66 points. Execute order 66. Darian is -1 behind in second. Eric is third with -19. Jarrett gets out of the basement temporarily, -25, and I am 3 behind him, -28 in my basement.
Hey, chat, we're close, right? We're pulling
Nice
away a little
basement
bit.
setup
though.
you got there, Danny.
Hey, but me and the chat, we're pulling away just a tad bit. Still early in the season, though. But hey, we're close. We're close.
So, with that being said, Darian, why don't you kick us off of who you think is going to win the Xfinity race?
Yep. All right, really quick, before I get to that, I almost forgot the NASCAR Weekly Podcast Fantasy League. Let me just go over the points for that really quick.
It's the top
that was my
5.
bad. Yeah. I'll just do the top 5. Yeah. So right now in the lead is Trevor Sports 98 with 604 points. Second is Bubba's Sports Mania Talk with 599. Third is Jets 48. Fourth is Weaver 24, and fifth is Young's 550. So the same guys are still flirting with the championship early on. So it's all about consistency. Well, till the playoff portion, then the points will reset, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's going to be fun. So thank you guys so much for playing. Okay, now back to picks. Who's going to win the Xfinity Series race at Phoenix? I'm not going to pick Ty Gibbs this weekend as much as I still, I still think he
Whoa. You
What?
said last week you're going to pick him every race. He won
Every
last week.
every other race. Excuse me, sir. Every other race. Okay. I can't pick him. I can't pick him for every single race. Come on, that's crazy. But no, I'm going to pick a former.
But could you pick Kyle Larson?
Who you got picking, Darian?
Yeah. I'm going to go with Justin Allgaier. He is a former winner here, and he's very underrated here. I don't think he gets enough love at this track too. He's won here multiple times. I think he'll bring it home for Junior Motorsports this weekend. So Justin Allgaier. Sorry to disappoint you, Eric.
Damn it, that was gonna be my pick. All right, I'll go with my backup pick.
I like my backup. I'll go with Daniel Hemrick. He won here last time we were here, and the only guy that was in his way isn't even in the field. So
Well, Eric, you can still pick the same guy if you want.
No, I don't want to just sit 18 points behind you every week. No, I gotta take risks.
Good point.
Yeah, and I already got a championship in the bag, so I have nothing to lose really. You guys took my 2 picks, so I'm gonna take my very close number 3. Gragson is gonna win. I just love saying his name like that, but no, I got Noah Gragson winning. He's been amazing to start this year. He runs well when it comes to Phoenix. I think he's going to get the win this week.
I'm going to go. Let me just double check, make sure he's in this race. I'm pretty sure that he is.
Don't pick nobody that's not in the race.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Again.
Okay. He's in the race. I'm going to Trevor Bain.
Oh, that's right. Damn, that could be a sleeper. That could be a sleeper.
Thought about Ty Gibbs, but
basement.
I like. Come on, Trevor Bain, pull me out of basement.
Yeah, see what happens.
And then the
I think the chat. I think they're going with Allgaier. The same
I'm saying nothing but 7 in here. So
damn, they're picking the same guy as me again. All right.
they're just gonna follow.
Yeah,
the advantage.
Just give them the Allgaier.
They got the advantage.
Someone asked who's driving the 18. That's Trevor Bain. So
Trevor Bain.
But yeah.
Alrighty.
There was a few Bain picks that come in there, but they got 7. So
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Cup Series. Who is going to suck, Darian?
Ooh, who is going to suck this weekend? You know what? This guy's on a roll, and I'm not saying he's going to suck for the rest of the season here. He does have the most top 10s, but I'm going to go with Eric Almirola. I think he'll run into some bad luck this weekend. It won't be, it's not going to start, a whole downward trend where, he has an even worse season than last year. That'll be hard to top, nothing like Eric Almirola's 2021 season, but I think he'll struggle a little bit. So Eric Almirola.
Brad Keselowski. I like Brad Keselowski. I'm actually a Keselowski fan these days. I'm rooting for that 6 car. I'm rooting for RFK. But goodness gracious, he's going to be involved in another incident, at least one.
This man
Yeah.
has finished lower than 13th every race here since 2018. I am sorry, Danny. Alex Bowman.
I don't blame you. He's not who I'm picking, but I don't blame you. I'm actually gonna stick with Darian in the SHR camp, except I'm gonna say Chase Briscoe in this case.
Oh, okay.
And the chat.
The
Let's be
chat,
real, it doesn't
going
matter who
Brad.
the chat picks.
Brad,
There's no points here.
I think it's Brad.
But they're
Yeah,
going
I see-
Keselowski.
Yeah,
I-
nothing but Brad or 6.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Brads.
Give him Brad.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, reminds me of that guy on TikTok.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
All right,
All right, underdogs.
underdog.
All right. Underdog picks. So this guy has had horrible luck the first 3 races. I mean, there's a lot of guys, that I could choose from that have had horrible luck the first 3 races. You got Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney, Keselowski, Harrison Burton. I want to see what Harrison Burton can do this weekend. I'd say perhaps he'll get, his first top 10 of the season, Harrison Burton, for the famous Wood Brothers.
I like that. I'll go with my boy Eric Jones. He's just been so fast this year. Top 5s at the Clash and Fontana. And I just think he's a technical racer. I think he's a good enough driver that he's going to get the most. I think he'll, as long as he would have had a top 10 last week too, I think he'll continue that streak and show top 10 speed.
This guy leads tons of laps at Phoenix, and if you include the Clash, he can't crash 5 weeks in a row. Brad Keselowski, just because I don't think he's going to crash 5 weeks in a row.
Never say never. Never say never.
All right, clip it. Someone clip it, and if I get it wrong, you can tag Age NASCAR on Twitter.
Yeah. You can ratio him.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, for me, I mean, this is underdog. Points don't matter here. I'm gonna say Ty Dillon. I think he can get a top 20, top 15 run here. I like Ty Dillon here at Phoenix.
And who do we got for the chat?
I think the chat's going Reddick.
Yeah,
I see a lot of Reddicks. Yeah.
The chat's gonna go with Reddick like every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
At
roll
some
with
point,
that.
he won't be an underdog anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
for points, you can pick him.
Yeah, yeah. Give him Reddick.
All right.
All right, Darian, you know what to say.
Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win at Phoenix this weekend?
It
So-
almost held the whole way.
Yes, and almost did. Yeah. Oh, well. Well, my pick, I'm going to go with an extremely safe pick, in my opinion. I feel like the worst case scenario for this pick is, at the very least, a top 10. Kevin Harvick returns to victory lane. He has not been there in a while, but again, this is Phoenix, man. This is Phoenix. At the very least, he will get a top 10, if not, if he doesn't win. But I think he'll pull off the victory this weekend and return to victory lane for the first time in a very long time. Kevin Harvick.
I like it. I never thought I'd say this, but that's kind of a risky pick, picking Harvick at Phoenix. Chat, I'm telling you, I don't think this guy's not an underdog anymore. He hasn't won yet, but that changes this weekend. Adjacent to his home state, Tyler Reddick. Remember when he was running second as a rookie in the I Am Second car here?
He was.
He's going to improve one position. He's going to finally seal the deal. Think about this season. He broke while leading at the Clash. He was in the lead draft when he wrecked at Daytona. He broke while leading at Fontana. And then he spun out and still finished 7th last week at Vegas. This week, he's going to win. Tyler Reddick. No. Tyler Reddick's going to win. Called it.
I'm gonna go a little safer. These guys are living on the edge. I'm gonna go a little safer. Living on the edge. Anyway, this guy leads tons of laps every time he's here. He's been arguably the best driver consistently at this track for about the past 4 or 5 years. He had an average finish last year of a 1.5. I'm going Martin Truex Jr. as my pick.
Yes, that's a good one.
So far this season, Hendrick has been on a roll. We got Larson 1, Bowman 1. I'm going to say the trend continues. It's going to be William Byron taking the win this weekend.
Ooh, okay.
Everyone's risky but me.
Yeah, everyone's risking it, man. Damn. Well, let's see what the chat picks. Let's see.
Chat doesn't seem to have any real clear consensus.
I saw somebody in there was like, "Hey, Darian picked Harvick, pick him," and nobody's
I'm
picking
seeing
Harvick.
a lot of 4, 9, and 19 so far.
That's I would say I've seen some
4s and
McDonald's.
9s.
I do see a lot of 4s right now. I think it might be Harvick.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think they're going.
Oh, wow.
Hey, should we put out a poll? Just
Sure,
to
go
make
ahead.
No,
or
this is
Yeah.
good. Yeah, okay, go for
We
it.
can put out
Yeah.
a poll because I don't want them to necessarily pick the
Yeah.
same thing as Darian.
So-
but they might.
We're just gonna screw
They're
Darian.
just
every
gonna
week.
screw me every week. So what was it? So it was Harvick and who else?
I mean,
There's been a lot of Truexes. I was thinking
Okay.
Truex.
I was thinking
So-
Elliott.
There's a few Elliots trickling in now. I don't know.
So just put
there's-
Harvick, Truex, and Elliott. I guess just put those three for the poll.
Can you do
That's
more
the
than
most
one?
I'm seeing. That's the most I'm seeing.
Yeah, you can do. I got 3 options up there. So I said, answer me, poll.
All right.
4,
Alright.
9, and 19.
So let's see.
Well, I mean, we can let him vote while we roll the super chats if you want.
Oh, yeah,
Sure.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let's do that for a little bit. Jared, if you want to do like a 5-minute timer, give him 5 minutes, I guess, or maybe not even that long.
Well, we don't need to give
we'll
them
give him a minute or two. We'll read. Whatever.
We're good.
I don't know who the last one I went with is. I think it was Nova Stone 12. James Greer come in with $5. Appreciate that. I'm excited to go to AMS, but I'm sad it's going to be a mini Talladega. You know, me and Darian both went there, and I just put out a video before this live stream today. So go back and watch that video. You'll get a kind of a preview of what Atlanta Motor Speedway is going to look like this spring. I don't know what to expect. It's definitely steep banking. So I don't know what we could. What are y'all laughing at?
I'm laughing at the. What did you write for the poll, Danny? It says answer me. Poll?
Hey, when I do polls, I do them funny. So
For those of you listening on Spotify, for those of you listening on Spotify, on YouTube, we have a poll option, and that's the way that the chat pick will come in right now.
It's looking like
the
Truex.
Early polling has Truex leading, but Elliott is keeping close, and then you got our third-party candidate of Kevin Harvick.
Yay!
that,
Not the same thing already.
that is how I want every presidential election to be from now on. Looking at the ballot, answer me.
Answer me.
Poll.
Poll?
Answer me. Poll.
Mine. That's what it sounds like.
That
I mean,
does.
here's the thing: is like Elliott went. It was down 44% Truex to 36 Elliott, and now Elliott's making a comeback. He's siphoning off all of the Harvick votes.
Yeah. Yay.
so-
we'll have the same pick as me. Thankfully.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, it's
Right.
looking like it's pretty locked in, though. I'd
I
say.
think it's Truex.
Yeah. Truex. Yep. Him and
So
Jared.
I better pray to God that my pick wins the Xfinity race, so I can
Game.
get the sweet
Something.
points. They're actually it's closing in.
Oh, okay, all right. Just keep reading super
Let's
chats.
just read
Yeah,
super chats while I
yeah.
go. I'll be right
Okay.
back. I gotta grab something.
Okay. Back to where we were. James Greer, appreciate the $5. I'm excited to go to AMS, but I'm sad it's going to be mini Talladega. I don't know if it's going to be mini Talladega, but they will have to go pretty much full throttle to get around there because it is very steep. I tried driving my wife's Ford Escape there, and I did get around at 45 miles an hour, but we definitely felt like we were going to flip over. So we'll see what happens.
I did a crab walk on the trip.
Yes, Darian did a crab walk. You can watch that in my latest upload.
Yeah.
Preston Friels, appreciate the $9.99. You guys talked about drivers being taken out of races. Look at Byron last year at Pocono 2, the Roval, Kansas 2, and Michigan were all his races to lose, and out of his control, they were taken from him.
That's right.
Yep. GN coming in with $5. Appreciate that. NASCAR. Hand on caution button at Daytona with instant reaction the instant a truck turns 45 degrees. Also NASCAR. Meh, let them race if Boyd injured.
What truck? I don't see it.
I will say, though, that was
The
like
windows were dark.
that was like 2 years in a row. They were very fast on that button at Daytona. So
Yeah.
NASCAR Ally Cup Series coming in at the $5. Appreciate that. Darian, for one race, can you please not tweet about any drivers? LOL.
I can't. It's part
You
of my
should during a
job.
race, Darian, just tweet about something completely different. Be like, so the trailer for that new Obi-Wan Kenobi show looks good. Like,
And
Darian, somebody just flipped.
Oh, well, let's go.
They'll be like, Darian, why are you not talking about the race?
Because you guys don't want me to anymore. That's it.
I'll be real. I'm curious to see because it's basically even if we just did 9 versus 19 and see how it went.
Okay,
Oh, my God.
It's going even now.
Let's take Harvick out of the equation. Let's do another poll.
Yeah.
Just because this is very even. So let's get rid of the Harvick
runoff
option.
election.
we're having runoffs and primaries for the chat pick. This shows we care.
Yeah. We want this to be as fair as possible.
I'm sorry, it was just getting so even. I was like, this is inevitable.
Yeah.
Nobody won more than 50%. So
Denny Deliver says movie proceeds to flop about the Obi-Wan thing. If you tweet
please
about it.
no.
Okay, and new poll is going up
Now.
now.
Enter me. Enter me now.
Poll?
Oh dang! The early polling is varying. Holy crap!
Yeah.
The early precincts are reporting in.
We're a couple more super chats, I think, before we're know for
All
sure.
right, yeah. So we just read from NASCAR LI Cup Series. Nova Stone 12. I've seen you a few times, and I appreciate that. We appreciate $2. Why is there no fuel mileage racing anymore? Simply put, stage racing. You just
Stage
don't get it.
racing.
Mostly stage racing.
You-
Also,
you
these
just don't
days,
get
the
it.
last few weeks, more cautions. It's a lot
Yeah.
of cautions.
That is true. Alex Luft, appreciate the $5. Is there a company that consistently makes the best paint schemes? For me, it's Valvoline. That is very
DeWalt.
solid.
Yeah.
And Sunny D.
It's Sunny D.
Valvoline's a solid
like Yogi
answer.
Bear? Why'd you sound like Yogi Bear? It's Sunny D.
Sunny D.
I'm smarter than the average bear.
Gavin Adcock, appreciate the $2. It's going to be sad to see Las Vegas get bulldozed.
Ain't going nowhere. Vegas ain't going nowhere, bro. They
It's
put
not-
way too much money in that place.
I think this is the one where Bowman's curse in, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Tyler, I'm going to butcher your name. Tyler Rekopf, appreciate the $5. So it's been a week, Eric. Should Auto Club be a short track?
Yes. I think it should. Las
Okay.
Vegas was a good race. I think the next gen, it might come back. Teams will figure it out. But I think this shows intermediate racing is probably going to be better across the board. So I don't think you need Auto Club. If Auto Club wants to be a short track, I think one of these next super chats makes it sound like he doesn't think it's going to happen. And it still might not. It may not happen. It may be a dead project at this point. But if it were to still happen, I would not fight it.
Yes, on that subject, Ian Dickey says for $4.99, Auto Club will remain 2 miles. We got our renewal confirmation from the track this week, telling us it will be at least one more year. All right.
They say we figured it'd be at least one more year.
I will take that from a season ticket holder.
Fine.
I said I'm fine with that.
All right, I've got 4 more super chats. Let me just read the rest of these, and then we'll end the poll after that. Does that sound good?
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Antar Das, good to hear from you. Been a little bit. Appreciate $9.99. I feel old seeing fans who say this is the best racing in their lifetime because I've been a fan since 2008 and I'm only 19 and I remember the good old days. Also, Sonoma should be early in season. I agree with that. I think if you could swap up anything, I would say maybe you could do Martinsville as a night race in the summertime and then do Sonoma earlier in the year when it's
Yeah, we can
better
see all the
conditions.
green. We can see all the green grass and stuff. That'd be cool.
Appreciate the $5 from Blake Coffrin. I see a lot of potential in Haley Deegan, but I want to hear your guys' opinions. Does she fail? Does she win races? Or does she win championships? I don't think she's going to fail, per se, because she's definitely not been that bad. I do want to see her break through and get a win in the Truck Series, but we just have to take it 1 year at a time, see what happens.
Yeah.
She's been getting caught up in a lot of stuff. I went on her YouTube channel the other day out of sheer curiosity, and you look at her thumbnails for past like 5 or 6 races, like race vlogs, and all the thumbnails are biggest crash I've ever been in. Or, you hit me first, or like something. I'm like, girl, you were doing so well at the beginning of last season, not getting into instance, finishing all the laps, running 20th, doing your thing. Let's get back to that now. I think she's like this last week. There was a wreck that she just kind of piled into. Not entirely her fault, but let's try to avoid some of that stuff. Let's get back to consistency.
Props to her and Chase Caber, though. They take advantage of when things are bad to definitely turn them into a positive.
Oh yeah, make a lot
Sure.
of money.
For me, I think she's not ready to move up the ranks anytime soon.
Yeah,
If she gets some part-time starts, what would you think?
she is supposed to be racing Xfinity part time for a few races, I think, right?
I don't.
Or was that a while ago?
It was rumored, but at this point, there's not many Ford options, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, she still needs to improve in trucks and stuff. There's no reason to rush her at all. There's absolutely no reason.
It's gonna be enough for me.
Mark B coming up to $199. Appreciate that. He says Darian looks like Walmart Patrick Mahomes.
I saw that earlier. I said, "Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one."
Hey, Kyle Busch said the next gen cars are from Walmart, so you could consider yourself next gen Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
And
I could there.
finally, the last one I have here, Andrew Meyer for $2. Appreciate that. Brad K go one race without wrecking challenge.
Failed.
And let me just do a refresh here and just make sure there's nothing that I've missed.
It looks like Truex won the pole.
Truex is the official chat pick.
That is who they are going with.
I love that.
Okay, there was one more super chat. $1.99 coming in from Isaac. Can I also mention that HMS raised $102,000 for Ukraine? And that is correct. We did not talk about that. And hey, I just got to add in on that. I find it very appropriate that with them fundraising for Ukraine, the ally car won.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, good one.
I like
But,
the ally scheme he's running this week as well. Kind of off topic.
Yeah, with
pet schemes.
Support the puppies.
Yeah.
Puppers.
Yeah.
All right,
That was
well,
it.
hey, hope you guys have enjoyed this week's episode of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, hosted here on DannyBTalks. Little side note, I did post a video earlier today about the upcoming changes, or no, not upcoming, the new changes to Atlanta Motor Speedway ahead of the upcoming race, which will be in 2 weeks. Me and Darian will actually be at that race at Atlanta Motor Speedway, so if you guys do happen to see one of us around, feel free to always say hello to us. Now, next week, you can catch us on Darian's channel on Wednesday, March 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. We'll go over all of the events that happen at Phoenix, and we will get you squared away and set up for that race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Darian, anything to add before we get out of here?
No, just tune in to the channel next week, and let's have an awesome show.
All
Okay.
right. Well, with that being said, do we have a Dale call, or do we not
A
have
Dale
that?
call.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it literally just sits on my floor right here. Like it just sits literally like on the carpet right here, and I'm
In
just
the
ready to. I just
in
pull
the-
it up every week.
It just assumes the position. It's ready.
Yeah.
I need to
in
like
the same
bring
spot.
this to you, Jarrett, because I feel like this is like your thing. I feel like I'm stealing
Ah,
your
no,
spotlight every week.
that's all good.
It's
That
fine.
didn't work.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yep.
Cute.
Yeah. Hey,
It came back. It came
It's
back.
okay.
All right.
No.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
Green. Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy. Thank you! Wow! Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
And we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip.
Rain like hell, baby. Come on.
Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes, 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 yes! Oh, what a year!